Chapter 858. The size of these battleships was several times larger than the one from the Tianliang sect. Each battleship could seat 100,000 people. This time around, the Yuanyang mansion had mobilized 1,000,000 people. It could be considered a large-scale operation. Such a situation had not occurred in the northern region for a long time. However, the news of the Yuanyang mansion moving out had spread during these few days. It had caused quite a commotion. Mobilizing so many people to attack an empire was like killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. Perhaps, they felt that the Yuanyang mansion was displaying their strength. That was why they had created such a huge commotion. Even the Ren King prison and 3 Absolute Hall in Aluo knew about this news. Yang Yao and Shiryu also planned to go and take a look. After all, this was a battle of the Yuanyang mansion. Although their strength was a little weaker, they were at the peak of the Dozong class. It was possible for them to handle some small matters. The main point was that they could form a relationship with the Yuanyang mansion. It would be useful for their future development. The 10 battleships majestically headed to the north. Along the way, some smaller battleships joined in. This was also a form of respect. The battleship at the front was naturally Mu Xinhai's. He stood at the front of the battleship and looked down at the land. This feeling was very good for Mu Xinhai. It was as if he could cover the sky with his hand. Do Zun. If he could step into the ranks of the Ji Zun, he would also be able to become a godlike existence. How happy would that be? In a while, he would be able to display his glory in the northern region. He would let everyone see the consequences of offending the Yuanyang mansion. Even a Do Zun would have to kneel before him. Looking at these factions in the northern region, all of them were following behind him. Only a person as strong as him was worthy of such support. At this moment, Mu Xinhai was filled with pride. It was as if he could already see the Wushu Empire falling under his feet. He did not even need to sacrifice a single person. Yang Yao and Shiryu were also behind the large group. They had merely driven a small battleship over as a gesture. After all, both parties had suffered heavy losses a few days ago. They were currently recuperating. Looks like the Yuanyang mansion is getting serious this time. Yang Yao and Shiryu stood on the deck and looked at the enormous battleship. They were extremely envious. This was the aura of a large sect. However, others had 10 such battleships. As for them, they only had 1. Moreover, they were unwilling to use it for fear of destroying it. Yang Yao took a deep breath. Yeah, I haven't seen such a battle for many years. I feel that Wusu Empire is finished. With the appearance of a Do Zun, he will definitely flatten it. It was as if you could already see the flames of gunpowder burning in Voidless Empire. This was going to be a perfect massacre. Feast of Death. In Voidless Empire, this morning was the same as usual. Everyone woke up from their dreams and began their busy day. However, after seeing such a flourishing city, no matter how tired I am, it will be worth it. I must buy a house. Right now, Lai Gu was patrolling the city gate tower as usual, and he was still wearing his pajamas. He was yawning non-stop, seeming like he didn't sleep well. With 4 such beautiful wives, it would be strange if he could sleep well. Lai Gu let out a sigh of relief. Yu Hua is really becoming more and more sensible. This feels great. Just when Lai Gu was standing on top of the city wall and reminiscing, a few black dots appeared on the horizon. Lai Gu thought that his eyesight was blurred and rubbed his eyes with all his might. A lot of black spots had indeed appeared in his eyes. F*ck me. Lai Gu couldn't help but curse inwardly, and his entire body was trembling. This was not a trembling of fear, but of excitement. Something big had happened. This is too great. Don't make a sound, don't tell anyone to listen, I will deal with this group of people myself. At this time, his honor shouldn't have woken up yet. As a qualified subordinate, it is perfectly normal for me to help his honor with his honor's worries. There is no need for me to disturb his honor for such a small matter. If Yi Hua were to find out about this, he would definitely stew Lai Gu. I, the Supreme Overlord, have painstakingly put in so much effort just to create a big scene, and yet, I actually didn't come to report to you. All of the white-armored warriors did not have the slightest bit of extreme reaction, and they appeared to be very ordinary. Even the city gate was still open. This guy is simply not putting these people in his eyes at all. Meanwhile, on the battleship, when these people saw the magnificent voidless empire, they were all stupefied. Is this really an empire and not some big sect? The height of that city wall is too exaggerated, right? And that color, are you afraid that others won't know that you are rich? Xiang Liren and Shi were also stupefied. They seemed to have already understood why Mu Xinhai mobilized so many people. From the looks of it, Yihua has taken a fancy to this city and wants to take it for himself. It is a pity that Mu Xinhai discovered it first. If I was the one who discovered it first, I would have been able to secretly take it down. Yang Yao and Shi were also stupefied. This was the first time they had seen such an empire, and it simply refreshed their understanding of empires. This is too spectacular, this is the first time I have seen something like this. Shi was shocked to the point that she couldn't even describe it with words. That slightly opened mouth, that astonished gaze, and that trembling pair of hands, it was as if she wanted to hug the entire voidless empire into her embrace. Although Yang Yao didn't say anything, greed could still be seen in his eyes. If I was the one who discovered this place first, I might have already taken it down. An evil smile appeared on the corner of Mu Xinhai's mouth. Today, this place shall belong to my Yuanyang palace, and no one shall even think of touching it. Whoever dares to touch it shall die. As the battleship advanced forward, it arrived at a place not far away from Voidless Empire and stopped. Mu Xinhai saw a strange man. He seemed to be wearing a thin robe, and he was standing on top of the city wall and looking at the city. Why is that hairstyle so strange, and it is even split in the middle? That man has a dazed expression on his face, I reckon that he was just scared silly by Mu Xinhai's troops. Some ants sure have a lot of expressions on their faces. It is best if they kneel down and submit, then open the city gate. The city gate is actually open. Mu Xinhai couldn't help but laugh out loud. So it turns out that they were all scared silly, to the point that they even forgot to close the city gate. What a bunch of trash. Xiang Liren and Shi, who were standing behind Mu Xinhai, were very puzzled as well. It can't be that these people were scared silly, right? Be careful, it might be a trap. Xiang Liren reminded. Mu Xinhai waved his hand, they are just a bunch of clowns, there is no need to be afraid. Men, come. Go over and greet them. A disciple could be seen respectfully receiving the order, and very quickly, the disciple landed in front of the city gate. Standing on top of the city gate gave one a feeling, but only when one was standing below the city gate did one realize just how tall the city gate was. Listen up. You guys have already been surrounded. Quickly put down the weapons in your hands, if not. Before the disciple could finish speaking, his expression became strange, and his face seemed to have become red. Mu Haixia slightly wrinkled his brows. Could it be that these people dare to kill my disciple? Do they not want to live anymore? When the time comes, don't blame me for massacring the entire city. The commoners inside the city will definitely be scared to the point that they are trembling. However, within the city, all of the commoners were walking back and forth on the streets. They didn't put the matter to heart at all, and they were even laughing and discussing with each other. End of chapter. Chapter 859. He saw an old man sitting in a tea stall, talking quietly. Sigh, another bunch of people who have come to die. Yeah, I don't know what these people are thinking. Do they have nothing better to do? What else can they think? They probably think that our voidless empire is easy to bully. That's right, but they never expected to bump into an iron plate this time. As soon as he said that, everyone in the tea stall laughed. Even though the city gates were still open, there were still people passing by. They didn't care about what was happening outside at all. This was also the trust that the people had towards Wushu Empire. They believed that Wushu Empire was powerful, and this was something that Yi Hua did very well. A powerful empire needed to let the masses have this kind of consciousness. If even the masses thought that you were incapable, then you wouldn't be able to survive. At this moment, Mu Xinhai's expression gradually turned solemn as he looked at the disciples who were gradually walking back. Palace Lord, save, save. Before the disciple could finish his words. Bang! His entire body suddenly exploded, and a bewitching bloody mist blossomed in the air, shocking everyone. Mu Xinhai wasn't able to adapt to this. Initially, he didn't think that he would need to sacrifice a single person to conquer Voidless Empire. Now, one of them had died before they even started. Wasn't this the same as slapping his own face? Letting others see him as a joke. Lai Gu, who was standing on top of the city wall, grinned, then shouted towards the other side, "The people on the other side, listen up, you are already surrounded by death. To your right is the spectator stand. If you don't want to die, you can stand there. I'll treat you as a spectator." After finished speaking, Lai Gu waved his hand and 3 big words appeared. In the spectator stands. Lai Gu understood his honor's intention. For something like this to happen, the outcome would definitely be that all of them would be exterminated. However, the news of all of them being exterminated had to be brought out by someone, therefore, Lai Gu still had to keep some of them alive. However, they couldn't leave him alive after the fight. They had to shout now. Because only smart people would do smart things. Fools would only be accompanied by death. Lai Gu's way of doing things made Mu Xinhai a bit surprised. This person, how audacious of him. To actually say such words, it seems like you don't know how powerful I am. To actually set up a spectator stand at the side, why don't you just call it a life-saving stand? This is simply an insult to me. Up until now, he hadn't seen an army gathering. This kind of empire was only a so-so. Xiang Liren and Shi quietly retreated a few steps. What should we do? Xiang Liren was a little uncertain. This voidless empire was very strange, and he was really afraid that Mu Xinhai had kicked a metal plate. If that happened, he would be done for. Shi said softly, "Don't worry. Didn't the prefecture master say that there's still Fan Jin? As long as there's a Zhizun here, we'll be safe. As long as there isn't a supreme being, what if there is a supreme being? Do we have to die with him?" Xiang Liren started to waver. His intuition told him not to stand there, but to stand in the audience seats. Shi asked doubtfully, "What's wrong with you today? Why are you so paranoid? Up until now, that Fan Jin still hasn't appeared. What if he doesn't appear? How do you know if he's telling the truth or not? Is Fan Jin really that easy to invite? Don't tell me you want to go to the audience over there," Shi said in a low voice. Xiang Liren didn't say anything. He was making a decision in his heart. Should he go or not? This feeling was like making a choice for his life. Which side should he listen to? It wasn't just Xiang Liren and Shi, Yang Yao and Shi Yu were the same. "Yang Yao, I don't think we should get involved in this mess." Shi Yu felt a bit uneasy. Just a moment ago, that disciple exploded just like that, and at that moment, Shi Yu felt that his entire body wasn't feeling good. Doing something like that is undoubtedly provoking Yuanyang manner. Today's slaughter was unavoidable. As for the massacre at the beginning, to hell with it. He didn't even know what method he used to kill a disciple, and he was still thinking of slaughtering them. If he were to be slaughtered later, he would suffer a calamity as well. Therefore, right now, other people have given me a chance to survive, should I grab it or not? That was the real problem. However, Yang Yao didn't have the same thoughts as Shi Yu. He said lightly, "If you want to go, no one will stop you." Yang Yao still wanted to ride on Yuanyang Prefecture's coattails. This was also a gamble that Yuanyang Prefecture would win. As long as Yuanyang Prefecture won, he would also get some benefits. Shi Yu was currently thinking frantically. That night, that man killed 2 Do Di, he was definitely a Dozun. Moreover, this Mu Xinhai was also a Dozun. If they were to fight, it would be difficult to predict the victor. This kind of battle was not something that a dozong like him could participate in. Thus, he had to make his choice as soon as possible. However, Shiryu was still hesitating right now, because he didn't know if his choice was right or not. Lai Gu, who was standing on top of the city wall, was a little impatient. All of you are not afraid of death. I will give you all another 10 seconds. Lai Gu shouted out. After Mu Xinhai heard what Lai Gu said, he was a little puzzled. What the hell is 10 seconds? Lai Gu began counting down, 10. 9. 8. Over 1 million people were listening to Lai Gu's countdown, but only 2 people were able to hear it. And that was Xiang Liren and Shiryu. They knew that the other party was giving them one last chance, forcing them to make a choice. 3. 2. Xiang Liren and Shiryu almost wanted to curse out. Just now, I clearly counted to 8, why did it suddenly jump to 2? Shameless. Mu Xinhai shouted out towards Lai Gu, stop shouting. Since no one is going to go, why don't we fight to our heart's content and let you all know how powerful my Yuanyang prefecture is. Wait till I flatten your Wushu empire, I will let you all kneel in front of me and count down your lives. However, when Lai Gu counted to 1, 2 figures could be seen flying out from the huge group. Mu Xinhai sensed it, and his expression instantly darkened. I feel that my face is very painful. These 2 bastards. Why didn't you come out earlier? Why did you only come out after I shouted out, aren't you 2 slapping my face? I want to see who it is. After I get rid of Wushu Empire, I will get rid of the 2 of you. When Mu Xinhai saw that the person who left was Xiang Liren, he felt very uncomfortable. This is the person that I called over. And now, he actually ran out. Are you King sick? Don't you know my strength? To actually choose to run to the spectator stand to save his life. As for the other person, Mu Xinhai forgot who he is. He is just a small character. Even if he is just a small character, I will still kill you all later on. Towards Xiang Liren and Shiryu running away, everyone let out mocking laughter. These 2 trash were actually scared away by the other party. This is truly embarrassing. However, what everyone did not know was that Xiang Liren and Shiryu had made a wise choice. When Shi saw that Xiang Liren actually ran away, he felt helpless in his heart. No matter what, you have the strength of a peak Emperor Do, and you were actually scared away. If this matter were to spread out, how are you going to raise your head? Your broken Moon Valley will become a joke. End of this chapter. Chapter 860. Yang Yao also sighed softly. This Shiryu was still too young and couldn't withstand a scare. The other party had merely shouted a number, yet he had been frightened away. That valley chief was also the same. His strength at the peak of the Do D class was also frightened. I'm really impressed. Xiang Liren and Shiryu stood alone on the side, accepting everyone's mockery. Of course they didn't feel good. But since he had already escaped, he had to accept the consequences. Especially when they saw Mu Xinhai's eyes, Xiang Liren and Shiryu could feel that he was planning to kill the 2 of them. Therefore, right now, they could only hope that Voidless Empire would be able to withstand the damage. When Lai Gu saw 2 people flying out, he was a little shocked because these 2 people were very smart. However, there were over 1 million people here, and there were only 2 smart people. The ratio was frighteningly low. The people of the Kangluo continent were indeed fools. Praise should be given. Who are the 2 of you? You have made the most glorious choice in your life. You will be proud of this. Along with Lai Gu's words, Xiang Liren and Shiryu could no longer laugh. Your Voidless Empire had better bring out some of your strength. At the very least, close the city gate. Do the Emperor know that you all are so careless? Mu Xinhai narrowed his eyes slightly. In the face of such humiliation, he had to use a battle to redeem himself. Otherwise, even if his army was defeated, it would still be a humiliation that could not be washed away. You all dare to fight. Mu Xinhai shouted towards Lai Gu. F***ck, there's actually someone who dares to challenge this king. How daring. However, just when Lai Gu was about to reply, he actually heard the sound of footsteps coming from the stairs, and his expression immediately turned bad. Someone is coming. Who is it? Who dares to snatch this king's chance to act cool? When Mu Xinhai saw that the other side's commander was panicking, he immediately laughed out loud, haha. That's all. Xiang Liren and Sure, you both had the heart to die. Big brother, what kind of expression is that? Can you change to a more confident expression? Even if it's just for show, please, can't you give us a little more confidence? Do you know how much courage it took for us to rush out? Don't lie to us. Xiang Liren and Sure, you looked at Mu Xinhai, only to find that he was grinning at them. My God, don't play with us like this. Where did your imposing manner go just now? Could you please reveal a bit more? Lai Gu didn't care about it at all. Listening to that slight footstep sound, who is it? If it were those underlings, they would definitely listen to him and not disturb him. But if it was one of the 7 deadly sins, then it was hard to say. Hearing the slight footsteps, Lai Gu dared to conclude that the person walking in front of him was a female. Of the 7 deadly sins, Yizizi and Brett were both female. Brett took care of absolute heaven every day, so how could she have the time to fool around outside? Please don't let it be Yizizi. God bless me. Buddha bless me. Big bone dragon, what are you doing? Hearing that familiar voice, Lai Gu felt despair. When this expression fell into the eyes of the million people, they immediately burst into laughter. This was the expression of a person who was about to die. Not only was Lai Gu in despair, Xiang Liren and Sure Yu were also in despair. This kind of despair did not have any seasoning added to it, it was the original taste. Wow, there are so many people, Yizizi exclaimed while covering her mouth. Lai Gu ran to Yizizi's side, then pushed Yizizi down the stairs. Zizi, be good, it is still early, quickly go back and sleep. Yizizi pursed her lips, alright, I will go and wake his honor up. Lai Gu, Zizi, are we brothers? Lai Gu asked gravely. Am I good to you? Good. Then, can you go back and sleep? Not good. Lai Gu, my good Zizi, what exactly do you want? Lai Gu gave in. Why did I have to meet Yizizi? It would be better if I met other women. Yizizi grinned and said, of course I want to play, do you want to play by yourself? Without a choice, Lai Gu could only compromise, let's make a deal then, you can't act shamelessly. And, I won't act shamelessly. Yizizi's pair of scarlet eyes revealed a hint of craftiness. Lai Gu could only believe in Yizizi for the time being, and his complexion gradually returned to normal. This caused Xiang Liren and Sure Yu, who were not far away, to feel relieved. This is exactly the kind of expression that should be filled with killing intent. Relieved, but, who is this little girl? Just now, this man seemed to be very afraid of her, this is truly strange. Could it be that this little girl is an expert? However, I can't see how she is an expert at all. Isn't she just a little wimp? Yizizi could be seen falling down from the sky, and Lai Gu was stupefied. I haven't even said who is going to be the first round, and you are already jumping down just like that. Looking at Yizizi jumping down just like that, Xiang Liren and Sure Yu felt unwell. Your Wushu empire is so big, could it be that there is no one else? To actually send a little girl to fight against me, you should at least send an adult. My God, are you guys trying to make us anxious to death? Such a cute little girl is actually going to die, I really can't bear to see this happen. And me. I am going to die soon as well, my God, don't treat us like this. Yizizi stood on the snowy ground and stared at the millions of people in front of her, then said with a smile, who is going to play with me? Send someone powerful. Of course, Mu Xinhai wouldn't go up himself. How can the main commander go up in the first round? Only when the main commander is unable to handle the situation will the main commander be able to go up. However, Mu Xinhai didn't expect that the other party would actually send out a girl. This girl is really no different from a child. Who is willing to fight on my behalf? Mu Xinhai shouted gravely. Me. Yang Yao could be seen suddenly standing out, then floating in front of Mu Xinhai while cupping his hands and saying respectfully. Looking at Yang Yao's way of doing things, sure you felt helpless as well. Why do you have to be so anxious? Just look at the situation first. Right now, we don't even know how strong the enemy is. Yang Yao's thinking was very simple. Right now is the best time to gain the enemy's trust. Alright. If we win this battle, your name will be left in the history. Thank you, Palace Master. Yang Yao was happy in his heart. Seems like my decision is correct. For Yang Yao to be able to do such a thing, he completely treated Yizizi as a girl, thinking how strong a little guy could be. Using a little guy to gain the Palace Master's trust, it is very worth it. It is not a loss at all, and instead, it is a huge profit. Just now, Shi also wanted to fight, but in the end, he still hesitated, which was why Yang Yao got ahead of him. However, Shi didn't really take it to heart, but now that there was a chance for him to perform. After Yang Yao received the order, he flew towards Yizizi and stood not far away from Yizizi. Yang Yao, don't kill nameless people. Report your name, I will let you die happily today. Yang Yao could be seen summoning out his tomb spike and preparing to use all sorts of drills. End of this chapter. Chapter 861. Yizizi twirled her ponytail with her slender fingers and smiled. No need to introduce yourself, I am not interested in your name. In any case, I will not be able to see you later. Boasting shamelessly. Watch my thorn. Yang Yao shouted angrily, trying his best to display his strength so that Mu Xinhai would take a fancy to him. A silver thorn instantly condensed in Yang Yao's right hand and exploded with quite a bit of aura. The thorn was even emitting a faint blue light. With one look, one could tell that it was a weapon that had been tempered thrice. This Yang Yao is not bad, he has even tempered a primordial godly weapon thrice. Mu Xinhai said after seeing. Shi, who was standing behind, smiled and said, for a person at the peak of the Dozong realm, it is already not easy to temper a primordial godly weapon thrice. This Yang Yao's potential is indeed not bad. It is indeed not bad, let's see if he can defeat his opponent. Mu Xinhai said faintly. If this Yang Yao can help me regain some face, there will still be a reward, but if not, then don't blame me for being ruthless, your benevolent king prison will no longer exist. In the arena, the thorn in Yang Yao's hand directly pierced towards the space between Yizizi's eyebrows. The explosive speed of his body caused people to be speechless. This had definitely surpassed the strength of the peak of the Dozong realm. The snow on the ground flew into the sky under this violent aura, instantly forming a beautiful picture. Although Yizizi appeared a little lazy, she was still very happy in her heart. Finally, someone came. This is simply too great, otherwise, I would have been suffocated to death. Although this is trash, I can still play with it and entertain my mood. After all, there is not even chicken dinner in this world, it is really boring. Seeing the opponent attack, Yizizi's delicate body suddenly jumped back, as if she was escaping for her life. This scene caused Shi Yu and Xiang Liren to have the heart to die. Since she knew that she had to escape for her life, why did she come down just now? Got it. She must have been pushed down just now. Yizizi dodging backwards made Yang Yao even more violent. He only retreated because he believed that Yizizi could not handle it. Deep drill. Yang Yao shouted, and the thorn actually began to spin crazily, bringing along a snowflake as it attacked towards Yizizi. Over 1 million people heard the name of this move, and at least half of them revealed astonished expressions. It seemed that half of them were experienced players. Shi Yu sighed softly. Why did Yang Yao have to come up with such a weird name? It really made people blush with shame. Moreover, he had to shout it in front of millions of people. Fortunately, he didn't shout that move. Toxic Dragon Drill. Facing this sudden deep drill, Yizizi actually stretched out her small palm. Yang Yao could even see the lines on Yizizi's palm. She actually used her palm to block my deep drill. She was simply courting death. Ha! Hearing Yang Yao's shout, a wave of qi immediately dispersed in all directions. His aura rose once again, and a dazzling light burst out from his tomb. Sure, you couldn't help but continue watching. Oh my god, how did you block it with your palm? Although Yang Yao's name was very dirty, its power couldn't be underestimated. When Mu Xinhai saw this scene, he also revealed a sinister smile. This little girl was really naive. However, Shi Yi, who was standing at the back, didn't think so. Just now, this little girl had clearly taken the initiative to come down, and looking at that guy now, he didn't have the slightest bit of worry. This could only mean one thing: this little girl was not as simple as she thought. Perhaps, this Yang Yao was finished. Bang! A huge wave of qi exploded in front of the city gate. The snow on the ground all melted, and the scene became blurry for a moment, causing people to be unable to see the result clearly. Xiang Liren and Shi Yu stared at each other, and they were shouting in their hearts. Don't die, if you die, we will also die with you. The corner of Mu Xinhai's mouth curled up into a smile. Although there was a huge gap between me and a peak Dozong, this kind of attack had already reached the level of a rank 1 Do Emperor. Receiving the attack with his hand without wearing any defensive equipment, the result was already very obvious. That arm is definitely gone, Mu Xinhai, am 100% sure. However, just when Mu Xinhai was 100% sure, the smile on the corner of his mouth gradually fell, and his gaze also became shocked. Not only Mu Xinhai, Shi Yi, who was at the back, also revealed a shocked gaze. Just now, it was all just a guess, but only after seeing this scene with his own eyes, did he know that it was really very shocking. Xiang Liren and Shi Yu were also shocked, but after the shock, the two of them actually let out cheers. This made them even more astonished. Looking at the over 1 million people who were as silent as death, only Xiang Liren and Shi Yu's cheers could be heard, as if they were the cheerleaders of the other party. To Xiang Liren and Shi Yu, they should indeed be cheering. After all, they had handed all of their hopes to Wushu Empire, and if Wushu Empire was unable to hold on, they would also die. However, right now, this is too great. That little girl actually grabbed onto the sharp end of the mausoleum spike. Indeed, Yizizi's left hand grabbed onto the sharp end of the mausoleum spike that was spinning crazily, and the corner of her mouth even carried a trace of an arc, as if she was mocking Yang Yao for overestimating his capabilities. My depth drill is a big move, and the sharp end of the mausoleum spike was actually grabbed onto by this little girl. What is that hand of hers made of? Is it a prehistoric artifact? You just don't believe me, and you are actually chasing after me to beat me up. Yizizi laughed softly, and her palm slightly exerted force. Bang! The mausoleum spike that was a prehistoric godly artifact could be seen shattering. At the very least, the sharp end of the mausoleum spike was completely shattered by Yizizi. This scene caused the over 1 million people to be dumbfounded. A prehistoric godly artifact was able to shatter with just a small hand, and it was even tempered thrice. How is this possible? Yizizi squeezed her hand, then slowly loosened her grip, and some powder could be seen floating out from her hand. Yang Yao's expression revealed out an astonished expression. Without thinking too much, he directly leaped backwards and pulled apart the distance between them. He felt that the person standing in front of him wasn't a little girl at all, she was a demon. The incarnation of a demon. This was the first time he saw someone being able to shatter a prehistoric godly artifact into powder. Yizizi slowly walked towards Yang Yao, and Yang Yao retreated backwards reflexively. When Shi Yu saw this scene, he thought that Yang Yao was finished. The bird that sticks out will be shot, why can't you hold back anymore? Mu Xinhai looked at Yang Yao, who was gradually retreating, and his expression became extremely ugly. 100%. Why do you always make me lose face? This damned Wushu Empire. Just what is this little girl made of, to be able to shatter a prehistoric godly artifact with just her palm. Sure Yi, who was behind Mu Xinhai, sighed in his heart. This Yang Yao should be finished. I reckon that only a Dozun would be able to deal with this little girl. Over 1 million people watched as a little girl gradually forced Yang Yao to retreat. No matter what, that Yang Yao was at the peak of the Dozong realm, and he needed his dignity as well. Right now, he actually didn't even want his dignity anymore. From this, it could be seen just how terrified he was. End of this chapter. Chapter 862. Only those who truly faced Yizizi would feel fear. One couldn't blame Yang Yao for being timid, this was a normal reaction. Back then, Yizizi even beat others until they became autistic. Don't retreat, we haven't started fighting yet. Yizizi laughed lightly, she felt that she hadn't even warmed up yet. Yang Yao's face was filled with fear as he continuously retreated and questioned with a trembling voice, just who are you, me? I am me. You are stupid to actually ask this kind of question, you are not allowed to retreat anymore. Otherwise, I will get angry. Yizizi kept her smile and said coldly. Yang Yao wouldn't be fooled, he was obviously not her opponent, and he even lost a weapon that was tempered to level 3, and he even lost face, this was not a worthwhile trade. Yang Yao could be seen running away very shamelessly, his body turned into an afterimage and flew towards the horizon. Seeing Yang Yao running away in a hurry, Mu Xinhai wished that he could kill him himself. This was a deserter, everyone had the right to punish him. However, when Yang Yao was running away, Yizizi's figure also disappeared. When Yang Yao was really happy that he ran away, Yizizi's figure once again appeared in front of him. I hate people running away the most. Yizizi said in a low voice, and her small fist suddenly shot out. Before Yang Yao could even react, he felt a pain in his abdomen. But it was only a little bit of pain. Ha ha ha, it doesn't hurt at all. Yang Yao laughed wildly, this crazy laughter seemed as if it was going to penetrate through the heaven and earth. Along with a boom, Yang Yao's body could be seen exploding in the air, causing everyone to be dumbstruck. Instantly killing a peak Dozong with a punch, may I ask how did you do it? Sure, you also had the strength of a peak Dozong, but seeing Yang Yao being killed with a punch, his entire person was not good. If it was him just now, he would definitely be killed with a punch. He didn't even see how powerful that punch was, it was as if it was just a casual punch. Mu Xinhai felt that this little girl definitely had a weapon on her hand, otherwise, how could she be able to grab a prehistoric godly item and instantly kill a peak Dozong with a punch? All of this felt so impossible. Yizizi raised her small fist and said slowly, so weak, gone in an instant, I already said not to introduce you, what a waste of saliva. After speaking, Yizizi floated towards the city tower. Let Lai Gu go up, these people are too weak, I'm not interested. Zizi, are you not playing anymore? Lai Gu was happy, she finally left. Yizizi pouted. Boring. I'm going back to sleep. You can play by yourself. Ha, alright, bye-bye. Lai Gu was very happy in his heart. Leave quickly, leave these people to me. Seeing the little girl leave, a lot of people were happy. Thought in his. Yi saw that the little girl leave. Actually. Yi Yes Yen thought in that had left. Actually, seeing the little girl leave, many people secretly rejoiced. After all, the impact of Yizizi's attack just now was very strong. Now that she had left, everyone felt at ease. They even felt that with an expert gone, it would be easier to deal with them. They had forgotten that Yizizi was heading towards the city. Even if the city was breached, they would still have to face them. However, at this time, the city gates were still not closed. Could they be a little more careful? In any case, they were here to attack the city. If they closed the city gates, there would still be an atmosphere of attacking the city. The current atmosphere was very bad. Lai Gu shouted loudly, that round just now doesn't count, let's start again. Sure you, Xiang Liren, why doesn't it count? Why doesn't it count? It definitely counts. That Yang Yao isn't the strongest, he's just a cannon fodder. Don't get arrogant, you average guy. Mu Xinhai felt that the other party was insulting him again and said gravely, Shi, you go and play. Shi paused for a moment, then said respectfully, Manner Master, how about we see who the other party sends out first? Mu Xinhai still didn't know that this Shi was a cunning old fox. If the other party was very strong, he definitely wouldn't go up. You guys send out your people. Mu Xinhai shouted loudly. Lai Gu was happy. Just as he was about to jump down, a voice rang out beside him. Lai Gu, what are you doing? Lai Gu felt that he was going to die. Why do people keep appearing at such a crucial moment? Can't all of you come at once? Don't appear so intermittently, this will tire me to death. The person who came was still a little girl. Kai Yun. This was also someone that Lai Gu didn't want to see. After all, this Kai Yun was from Yuehua's side, so he had to give way to her. Wow, so many people, so many ships. Kai Yun looked at the horizon and couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Both of his hands were covering his mouth, as if he was very afraid. Shi Yu and Xiang Liren's jaws were about to drop onto the ground. A little girl just left, why is there another little girl coming? Could it be that this Wushu Empire doesn't have any big ones, all of them are little girls? And this little girl doesn't seem to be as strong as the one just now, she seems to be very weak. How about I send out another little girl? Lai Gu squeezed out a smile and asked, Kai Yun, why did you come? Oh, I just bumped into Yizizi. She said that there's something fun to do here, Kai Yun said with a smile. Yizizi did not lie to him. Sure enough, there was something fun here. Lai Gu covered his face with his hand. This Yizizi, I let you go and play for a round, so why did you still have to tell other people about it? Furthermore, you even told Kai Yun, this wife's family. Then why is this king still playing? These people were discovered by this king. You can't snatch them all. That Kai Yun, Yuhua has something to talk to you about today. Lai Gu began to bullsh *t. As long as I can trick Kai Yun away, everything will be fine. Yuhua is looking for me. There's no hurry. It's not a big deal anyway. Lai Gu hurriedly said, it's a big matter. Did you bully Yuhua? Kai Yun asked. How is that possible? Why would I bully Yuhua? Lai Gu was truly ashamed. What is this Kai Yun thinking about all day long? Then I'll go down and play. Without waiting for Lai Gu to reply, Kai Yun floated out just like that, and his face had a childlike innocence. At the very least, many people felt that this was the expression a child should have. The one just now was too savage and not to be trifled with at all. Seeing that the little girl had gone up the stage, Xiang Liren and Shi Yu felt a bit despair again. Manner Master, leave this little girl to me. Shi Yi, who was standing behind Mu Xinhai, said respectfully. Shi Yi was able to guarantee that this little girl is definitely not as powerful as the previous one and is definitely weaker than the previous one. Therefore, I can go up the stage and ensure that everything goes smoothly. However, Shi Yi didn't think of one point. Even if the other party is weaker, you are still not a match for the other party. This is the fatal blow. You are still too young. End of this chapter. Chapter 863. Go, be careful. Mu Xinhai did not object to Shi Yi's request. This Shi Yi had the strength of a peak Do Di. It was a completely different concept from the peak of the Do Zone class. Hence, he was much more at ease. The main point was that this little girl looked like an honest person who was easy to bully. If Kai Yun knew what these people were thinking, she would definitely laugh delicately. How do you guys know that I'm an honest person? You're really too smart. However, just as Shi Yi was about to step onto the warship, a figure suddenly appeared. This surprised everyone present. This was a young man who looked as cold as ice. His skin was very white, and the main point was that his appearance was very beautiful, and he had long hair. If she wore women's clothing, she would definitely be a great beauty. When Mu Xinhai saw this person, he immediately greeted respectfully, "Greetings, Fan Jin." Shi had never seen Fan Jin before, but when he heard Mu Xinhai's words, he immediately cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, Fan Jin." "No need for formalities," Fan Jin said calmly, appearing very natural. His right hand was placed behind his back, and his left hand was placed on his abdomen. Seeing Fan Jin's sudden appearance, Mu Xinhai and Shi both calmed down. This was a person who was half a step into the realm of honorable martial artist. Today, he would definitely destroy Wushu Empire. When Fan Jin caught sight of the voidless empire before him, he let out a slightly startled look as well. However, he quickly retracted it. Who would have thought that there would be such an empire in the northern cold land? This was truly an eye-opening experience. No wonder Mu Xinhai wanted to take it for himself. Even he was a little tempted by it. However, as someone who already had half a foot into the ranks of Supremes, he still couldn't bring himself to do so. Sure, you also saw the man who suddenly appeared and expressed that she did not know him. "Valley Master, who is this man?" Sure, you asked curiously. Xiang Liren's entire body froze. Mu Xinhai had really called Fan Jin over. Originally, he thought that it was fake. How could Mu Xinhai call Fan Jin? But now that the truth was in front of him, he had no choice but to believe it. Sure, you was shocked to see Xiang Liren beside her. Even she felt a little uncertain. "Valley Master, who is this?" Xiang Liren took a deep breath. "This is Fan Jin, a man who is half a step into becoming an honorable." Hearing Xiang Liren's words, Shiryu was like a stone sculpture, unable to budge an inch. This person was actually the legendary figure of the north, the great god Fan Jin. He was just a step away from entering the ranks of Supremes. This was too terrifying. Also, why did he come here today? I'm done for. A person who is half a step into the realm of Overlord came, and he's really dead. Sure, you wasn't the only one who thought this way. Xiang Li and the others also felt the same. They were really dead. Mu Xinhai was now full of confidence. As long as Fan Jin was around, they would definitely win today's battle. "Don't worry," Fan Jin said calmly. This was just a small matter and there was no need for him to do anything. Just look at the formation of the other party. No, this shouldn't be called a formation, because there was no formation at all. There was even a little girl standing in the middle, and the city gate was still open. Could it be that they were scared silly? Where was the emperor? He couldn't be dreaming, right? Right now, Yi Hua was currently hugging onto his 3 wives, and he was currently dreaming, and he was completely unaware that his subordinate had snatched away the limelight of him acting cool. I reckon that when Yi Hua wakes up, he would already be gone. Daji stood outside the door and waited. In order not to disturb her master's sleep, she even set up a barrier. This bunch of reckless fools actually dared to disturb his master's sweet dreams. He really wanted to rush out and kill them all. In the field. Shi finally entered the field. He steadily landed 30 feet away from Kai Yun. Kai Yun had been maintaining a childlike smile. Coupled with that petite figure of hers, she really looked like a child. However, different from Yi Zizi, this was a little girl that came from the bottom of her heart. Kai Yun felt that there was a rather powerful person that came just now, but that powerful person actually didn't come down, and what the hell came instead? "I'm really a little disappointed," sigh. Shi heard the sigh of the little girl and asked curiously, "If you go back now, I won't kill you." "You want to kill me?" "I haven't even planned to kill you yet, bad guy," Kai Yun said with a childish voice. Shi immediately covered her face. "Big sister, how can you say such words when 2 armies are facing each other? You have to say some threatening words, just like that little girl just now, saying some threatening words right from the start. Threatening people at the drop of a hat, this is what is called imposing manner. Look at you, your words are still soft, and you even said that you are a bad guy at the end. My God. I'm definitely a bad guy. I'm dead for sure. Shuri didn't expect that this little girl would be so delicate, to actually call me a bad guy. Do I look like a good person? I'm already fighting my way to your doorstep. I've already given you a chance, don't blame me for being ruthless. Shuri said coldly. Since they were on the battlefield, age and strength were no longer important. You can only blame yourselves for underestimating your opponent, to actually ask a little girl to come and fight. I don't blame you. Kai Yun said happily. This person's words were really interesting. Following Kai Yun's words, over 1 million people were secretly laughing. This little girl was much more adorable. That little girl just now was a violent little loli, simply too terrifying. However, the one fighting this time around was Shuri, with the strength of a peak do di. He would definitely be able to kill his opponent with one punch and turn the tables. Xiang Liren and Shuri were almost unable to hold on any longer. Both of their legs were trembling. This little girl couldn't give them confidence at all. They would definitely be completely abused by Shuri. As the leader of the Viper sect, Shuri was an expert in playing with snakes. His snakes were all carefully bred, and even a Dozun had to be careful when dealing with them. After being poisoned, it was impossible to cure them in a short period of time. In that case, I'll let you have a taste first. Shuri swung his right hand, and a black shadow flew out from his elegant robe and attacked Kai Yun. Its speed was so fast that it left one speechless. Fan Jin saw Shuri's action and faintly said, "It is unexpected that this person actually has a Kuan snake." Not bad. Mu Xinhai respectfully said, "He is the leader of the Viper sect, Shuri. He specializes in collecting some rare snake species." So that's the case. That makes sense. Fan Jin faintly said. At this moment, Shuryu also exclaimed, "What kind of snake is this?" Xiang Liren said in a deep voice, "This is a Kuan snake. This kind of snake is extremely small, but its poison is extremely high. Even a Do Di will faint after being bitten. Moreover, this kind of Kuan snake is extremely rare. If it is not raised from a young age, it will kill its owner." "What if I am bitten?" Shuryu curiously asked. Xiang Liren looked at Shuryu and laughed softly, "You will be gone in a breath's time." "Damn it, is it so terrifying?" Shuryu exclaimed. "That's right. This fellow is the Snake King, a Do Di who plays with snakes. He is much stronger than me." Xiang Liren faintly said. It seemed that he was also very afraid of these poisonous snakes. It was impossible to guard against them. End of this chapter. Chapter 864. Shiryu's face turned ashen as she listened to the end of the story. A Do Di who played with snakes was really King untouchable. This little girl was finished. After she was done for, he and the Valley Master would also be done for. "Are you two trying to play us to death?" It was cold. Kai Yun seemed to be in a daze, as if he didn't know what was going on at all. That innocent look of his made people believe him without a doubt. Lai Gu, who was standing on top of the city wall, was very depressed. "Don't create any more trouble, I just want to go down and act cool, what's wrong with that? I'll just pretend for a while." "Damn it, I've already thought of my lines." As the Kuan snake sped forward, Kai Yun suddenly stretched out his hand. It was so fast that no one noticed it. Seeing this, Fan Jin, who was standing on the battleship, was stunned for a moment. His brows furrowed slightly. Who was Kai Yun? Back then, she was a little girl who had fought against Yi Hua. Her strength was terrifying, and her battle prowess was not to be underestimated. In the end, Yi Hua still managed to scare Kai Yun to the point that he pissed his pants with Yi Hua's deviant flame. This also showed how formidable deviant flames were, especially Yi Hua's deviant flame, which was even more monstrous to the extreme. However, even now, Yi Hua still hasn't managed to fuse with all the different flames that he wanted. On the other hand, Dong Huangli casually fused with all the different flames, causing Yi Hua to feel depressed. However, when I thought about my child's talent, I didn't really put it to heart. My child should be more powerful than me, only then would I be able to make myself feel proud. Kai Yun grabbed the Kun serpent's head. Everyone was dumbfounded by this action. Looking at Shi Yu and Xiang Liren, their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. Their mood was like sitting on a rocket, going up and down. They felt like they couldn't handle such a state of mind. Just a moment ago, he thought that the little girl was done for, but in the blink of an eye, the little girl actually grabbed the Kun snake. Mu Xinhai couldn't help but exclaim, "How is this possible? She actually caught it." Fan Jin stood at the back and did not say a word. His face was a little gloomy. Even though it was only a small claw, it contained too many profound techniques. From the moment it moved to the moment it landed, everything was done neatly, and it was so swift that even he was only able to catch a glimpse of it. What kind of little girl was she? Fan Jin was a little shocked. In terms of speed, this little girl did not lose to him. Looking at the open city gate behind the little girl, Fan Jin unconsciously swallowed his saliva. Just what kind of world was beyond that? And the man on the city wall? What the hell was he wearing? Why was this outfit so strange? It was too frivolous. And it was pink. His hair was even parted in the middle. And that frivolous expression, his whole body lying on the city wall, as if he was very bored. Just a moment ago, she had thought that this man was being arrogant, but now, he didn't take it to heart at all. This was a kind of confidence. What happened before I came? Fan Jin faintly asked. His solemn expression faded away. He knew that he couldn't express his negative emotions right now. After all, Fan Jin also wanted face. Mu Xinhai softly said, "Just now, the other party also sent out a little girl. She shattered a peak dozong with one punch. She's also a little girl?" Fan Jin was puzzled. Were there no men in this empire? Did they all let girls compete? That's right. That little girl crushed an ancient godly item, and it was even tempered thrice. Mu Xinhai added. Then he added, "I feel that the little girl should be carrying some kind of weapon." Fan Jin was speechless. If he was really carrying a weapon, that would be fine. But if he didn't bring it? Fan Jin couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. If he didn't bring it, his strength should be at least at the overlord level. Because even I am unable to crush an ancient godly item that was tempered thrice with my bare hands. Right now, Fan Jin was a little uncertain. Suddenly, Fan Jin asked, "What are those two people standing over there for?" "Spectator seats." "Great God, Fan Jin, those two people are traitors, they are cowards. If they just stand there, Wushu Empire won't be able to harm them." Mu Xinhai said gravely. "After I take care of Wushu Empire, I will kill those two people." "Indeed." Fan Jin said softly. He seemed to mind, but he still took a look at the spectator seats. On the stage, Shi Yi was a little speechless. My Kun snake was actually caught by the girl on the other side. This is a scene I have never seen before. She is actually still teasing my Kun snake. That's right. Kai Yun was indeed teasing Shi Yi's Kun snake. TSK, good little snake, what is your name?" Kai Yun could be seen grabbing onto the lower part of the snake's head and patting onto the Kun snake's head with his left hand. To be honest, right now, the Kun snake was a little stupefied as well. The Kun snake charged out with the aura of death, and that expression on its face was rather sinister. As long as someone saw that expression, that person would definitely be fearful. If there was a mirror in front of the Kun snake, even the Kun snake would be frightened by that ferocious expression. Just as the Kun snake was about to bite onto the girl's neck and release its liquid, unexpectedly, the girl grabbed onto its throat, and that feeling was just as if its lifeblood was cut off. Furthermore, the girl even patted onto its head. Could it be that you have never seen such a ferocious snake before? Look at my ferocious expression, are you frightened by it? Still not letting go of me. Let me take a bite. I-oh. Patting my head, if you have the guts, pat my head again and make my expression 3 times more ferocious. I will make you shiver in fear. Kai-yun said with a smile, Aya, this little snake actually knows how to use emoticons, cute. After finished speaking, Kai-yun patted onto the Kun snake's head. The Kun snake immediately felt that its dignity was being insulted, and it opened its big mouth. SSS, 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 are you fierce or not? Don't be frightened to the point of peeing. However, the Kun snake that opened its mouth was stupefied. If it were to say what was the thing that it regretted the most in its entire life, it would be that it opened its mouth in front of this little girl, because Kai-yun directly pinched onto the Kun snake's poisonous fang and pulled. Afterward, Kai-yun pulled out another poisonous fang, then said with a smile, all right, you are not poisonous anymore. Over 1 million people were stupefied. This little girl is so scary. Killing people without a trace. No, no, no. This is killing a snake without a trace. You pulled out a poisonous snake's fang, how do you expect other people to be poisonous snakes in the future? Do other people's snakes not care about their face? In front of over 1 million people, you humiliated a snake in front of everyone. Too much. This is too much. This kind of way of doing things is simply asking for heaven's punishment. Right now, the Kun snake didn't know what was going on, it just felt that its mouth was in pain, and its brain was buzzing. Afterward, when it closed its mouth, it felt that something was missing, just like the feeling of an old person without teeth. My teeth. My poisonous fang. Mommy, where did my poisonous fang go to? End of this chapter. Chapter 865. Shi Yi's face was already red from anger. This is not only insulting my snake, this is also insulting my face. She actually pulled out Kun snake's tooth. How is this possible? Kun snake's tooth is not inferior to a prehistoric godly item, and she actually pulled it out. This is definitely impossible. Shouldn't such a naive little girl be playing under her mother's knees and asking for sweets to eat? And that hand of hers is made from a prehistoric godly item. Originally, Fan Jin was already very shocked when Kai-yun grabbed onto Kun snake's neck, but when he saw that the little girl actually pulled out Kun snake's poisonous tooth, Fan Jin felt a little dizzy. The reason why the Kun snake was so rare was because it was a living desolate era godly item. A living desolate era godly item was much better than some weapons. Even a species like the Kun snake could be compared to a desolate era godly item. Yet, this little girl is actually playing with it in her hands like she is catching a chicken. For some reason, Fan Jin felt that it is better for me to leave. But if I leave now, do I not want my face anymore? Even a snake wants its face, and I am a peak dozun, do I not want my face anymore? Great God Fan Jin, this. Mu Xinhai was also a little confused. That panicked look of his was comparable to Fan Jin's. Why are all the little girls from Wushu Empire so savage? The last one was crushed, this one is pulled out, do you all still want your face? Is there anyone who fights like this? This is clearly slapping their own faces. When Fan Jin saw that Mu Xinhai turned around, his expression immediately changed. It's fine, with me around, they won't be able to cause any trouble. That's good. Hearing the great god's words, Mu Xinhai heaved a sigh of relief. At least Fan Jin is still confident. However, what Mu Xinhai didn't know was that Fan Jin is not confident at all. Right now, he is also panicking, and even feels that he shouldn't have come today. He is a little regretful. What to do? Xiang Liren and Shi Yu's faces were also filled with shock. Shi Yu didn't really understand and asked, is this Kun snake's tooth that easy to pull out? No. It's not easy at all. This Kun snake's tooth can even bite through meteoric iron. There has never been a record in history that a Kun snake is afraid of its tooth. This little girl is even more savage than the last one. We have underestimated Wushu Empire's strength. Xiang Liren was now certain that Wushu Empire was filled with hidden tigers and crouching dragons. Sure, you even felt that the person in the wheelchair was actually the weakest. These people were the main force of Voidless Empire. Little Girls Guild, this might be the most pitiful Kun snake in history, to be humiliated like this. Sure, you sighed with emotion in the end. He realized that it was a wise choice for him to run away. God bless the Three Absolute Palace. Xiang Liren felt the same way. Release my snake. Shi roared, appearing very malevolent. The Kun snake was one of his most important snake species. In fact, he had raised it since it was young and treated it like his own child. Now that he saw his own child fall into the hands of others and have his teeth pulled out in public, how could he bear such a great humiliation? Kaiyun grabbed the already stiff Kun snake, and said delightedly, "Wait a moment, I still haven't played enough." "Isn't that right, little snake?" Right now, Kun snake was already stupefied. "Where is this place? Why did I get caught? I lost my memories. I definitely lost my memories, let me take a nap." Just like that, Kaiyun watched as the Kun snake went limp. Instantly, he cried out in alarm, and lifted the Kun snake up. "Little snake, what's wrong with you? Hurry up and wake up." After saying that, he patted the Kun snake's head. "Stop hitting it. You savage woman." Shi was already on the verge of going berserk. Just like that, he watched as his child was being patted. Meanwhile, even after Kaiyun patted the Kun snake for a long time, the Kun snake still didn't wake up. "I'm returning it to you, it's boring." Kaiyun could be seen directly tossing the Kun snake over to Shi. Shi caught hold of the Kun snake, and discovered that the Kun snake was no longer breathing. "You actually tried to kill it. Why are you so vicious? You are a snake and scorpion woman." Shi cursed at Kaiyun. This Kun snake is so cute, yet it was actually slapped to death. I have never seen such a heartless girl before. She is even more heartless than the one just now. Kaiyun was unconvinced as he pouted his small mouth and said, "How am I vicious? I only slapped it a few times, who knew that your little snake would be so weak? You. Today, I am going to hang your corpse at the city gate and expose it to the sun." "It's freezing," Kaiyun reminded. "How can there be any exposure to the sun here? This person truly doesn't know anything." "Anything is fine, look at my snake." "Ah. Do you still have snakes? Quickly let me play with them. Come out. Silver-winged great snake." Shi shouted angrily, and another snake flew out from his sleeves. However, it didn't attack towards Kaiyun, and instead landed at the side. This was a pitch-black snake with 3 eyes, and one of the eyes grew above the other 2 eyes, appearing very strange. "Wah, just how many snakes are inside your clothes?" Kaiyun cried out in surprise. He really wanted to strip off Shi's clothes and see how many more snakes were hidden inside his sleeves. "I'm not telling you," Shi said casually. After saying that, he felt that something was wrong. Why did I say such words? It makes me seem like I am a child. Damn it, I have been led astray by this little girl. Silver-winged great snake, let the world see your true appearance. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The pitch-black silver-winged great snake suddenly expanded rapidly, and in 2 breaths' time, it became a huge snake that was 300 meters tall. This kind of height had already reached the height of the city wall, perhaps even higher, because half of it was still coiled on the ground. Wah! Kaiyun couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Even Lai Gu, who was on the city wall, was shocked. It seems like I haven't eaten a snake for a very long time. Although this silver-winged great snake isn't a super tonic, it can still nourish the body. My precious Yu Hua and my 3 wives all need nourishment. Should I stew it or roast it? What Lai Gu was thinking in his heart was what Kaiyun was thinking in his heart. Such a big lump of snake, how long do I have to eat it? I might as well have a snake stew festival in the whole city. Everyone will be very happy. I am really looking forward to it. Snake Stew Street, it sounds interesting. Are you afraid? Do you think that this is the end? That is impossible. Shi sneered, and the peak stage Emperor Aura was released. Armor of Spirit Root. Dragon Tiger Nail. Giant Seal. Flower Cloud Demonic Peace. Following Shi's shout, an armor appeared on the body of the silver-winged great snake, covering its entire body. On the surface of the armor, countless objects that looked like teeth appeared, emitting a cold aura. On the surface of the armor of Spirit Root, flashing imprints appeared, seemingly causing the defense of the armor of Spirit Root to become even stronger. On the surface of the armor of Spirit Root, many strange flowers also appeared. These flowers carried the aura of death, announcing their arrival. End of this chapter. Chapter 866. A powerful aura burst forth from the silver-winged serpent's body. This was a snake with a lot of buffs. Although this silver-winged snake was slightly weaker than the Kun snake, with these buffs, it was much stronger than the Kun snake. The Kun serpent was used for sneak attacks, catching people off guard. However, this silver-winged serpent was used for frontal attacks. To put it bluntly, this snake could destroy an entire empire. This snake is so powerful. It feels like it has the strength of a dozun. Shiryu exclaimed. It had swelled up just after it was released. At that time, it felt that it only had the strength of a do-di. However, with the addition of those chi methods, it had directly broken through to the dozun class. Xiang Liren simply said, I've already told you, Shi is a snake player. This silver-winged serpent is one of his trump cards. Today, he used it, and it was an eye-opener for me. If Shi breaks through to the Supreme Being stage, I'm afraid this snake will be ranked among the prehistoric beasts. What? Prehistoric ferocious beast? Shiryu was so shocked that he was speechless. If this Shi had really reached the level of a Supreme Being, and could even make a snake reach the level of a primordial beast, then it would be shocking. After all, being able to command a primordial beast was an extremely terrifying thing. At this moment, Mu Xinhai finally smiled. Looks like Shi is still hiding some strength. This silver-winged serpent is indeed powerful. It is already a rank 1 dozun. Although Mu Xinhai was smiling, he was a little uneasy in his heart. This was because Shi's trump card was indeed terrifying. After all, he was only a rank 2 dozun while he was only at the peak of the do-di class. Yet, he had a dozun pet and could fight with him. He could only say that Shi was too good at hiding. He had to be more careful in the future. Shi had no other choice. He didn't want to use this move, but the Kun snake's death made Shi angry. He revealed his trump card. Fan Jin, who was standing at the side, was not happy at all. Based on the little girl's move just now, the snake should be able to handle it. Now, he was only hoping, but he was wrong. However, how could someone at the peak of the dozun class make a wrong judgment? However, when the millions of people saw this scene, they instantly cheered, and their morale reached its peak. Kill! 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 Battle cries rang out from outside the city, piercing through the clouds. An austere aura immediately engulfed the entire battlefield. When Shi heard such a murderous aura, his blood began to boil. Silver-winged serpent. Eat this heartless man in front of you. Shi bellowed, and the huge silver-winged serpent seemed to understand him. His body instantly began to spiral, and he looked down on Kai Yun. The sturdy head instantly smashed towards Kai Yun. The armor that wrapped around the head of the silver-winged serpent suddenly blossomed with a gorgeous color, and the ferocious spikes were like a blooming flower. Faced with the ferocious silver-winged colossal snake, Kai Yun grinned and said, "Wow, how can I eat such a big lump? There's too much." Boom. The silver-winged serpent crashed heavily into the ground, leaving behind a huge crater. A berserk airwave spread out in all directions, and even the battleship that was in the sky started to sway slightly. However, when it came into contact with the city wall, there was no reaction at all. No one saw this because they were all looking to see if the little girl was dead or not. However, Fan Jin witnessed this scene. Such a powerful shockwave was actually unable to cause any damage to the city walls. Furthermore, he had clearly sensed a fluctuation of aura from the city walls just now. There must be something guarding it. If I didn't sense it carefully, I wouldn't have noticed it. Look at that Mu Xinhai, there was no reaction at all. To be able to do this, perhaps only an overlord would be able to do it. If that's the case, this Wushu Empire has an overlord. F***ck. Didn't this damned Mu Xinhai say that this is just a small empire? This fucking small empire actually has an overlord, and he even dragged me here to die. How about I leave right now? Face is small, but life is still very precious. Just as Fan Jin was thinking of running away, his gaze suddenly became astonished. How is this possible? There is actually someone who sealed the space. And I actually didn't notice it at all. It's over. Even I didn't notice it at all. There is probably really an overlord in the city. This time, I am really screwed over by Mu Xinhai. I don't even have the chance to escape, and this group of fools is still cheering. Can you all grow a heart? Other people are just playing around. F***ck. No wonder other people are still opening the city gates, completely not putting everyone in their eyes. And that man on top of the city walls, the smile on the corner of his mouth is still there. That man is most likely even more savage. Mu Xinhai looked at the scene and didn't notice the changes in Fan Jin. In Mu Xinhai's heart, this Wushu Empire is just like a piece of paper, and as long as I give the order, the city gates will immediately be broken. Everything will be plundered, and this Wushu Empire will become my Yuanyang Manor's territory. And I will be living in the palace. This is such a thing that I yearn for. At the scene, when the smoke dispersed, the silver-winged great snake could be seen to still be in an attacking posture. But as long as one observed carefully, one would notice that the silver-winged great snake's body was slightly trembling, as if it was using a lot of strength, but it was useless. Pooh! A pair of wings could be seen unfolding on the silver-winged great snake's body. It wasn't without reason that it was called silver-winged great snake. A pair of wings allowed it to have the ability to fight in the air, and it was simply a battle tool that could be used in the air, land, and sea. Shi was a bit confused. Why is my silver-winged great snake able to unfold its wings? This doesn't make sense. Furthermore, it seems like it is flying backwards. That's right now, the silver-winged great snake was indeed flying backwards. Its pair of huge wings were flapping crazily, and strong gales swept through the entire battlefield. "Aya, don't run!" Suddenly, a young and tender voice rang out, and everyone heard it. However, after hearing it, everyone's expression changed greatly, and the cheers from just now immediately disappeared. The size of the silver-winged great snake was very big, and Kai Yun was just like a black dot in front of it. Furthermore, there was also a deep pit in front of it, and no one knew what was going on. But after hearing what Kai Yun said, everyone realized what was going on. This little girl is humiliating a great snake in front of everyone again. Why must you be so savage, to actually humiliate an innocent great snake? Doing such a thing will make people despise you. Right now, the silver-winged great snake's entire body was floating in the air, as if its head was stuck, and it was trying its best to struggle free. And it was even letting out a strange wail. Along with the silver-winged great snake floating in the air, the situation in the pit also appeared. Kai Yun could be seen grabbing onto the silver-winged great snake's teeth. With a smile on her face, she said, "Don't I want to eat snake meat for breakfast?" The silver-winged great snake seemed to be able to understand Kai Yun's words, and it flew backwards even more desperately. However, no matter how much strength it used, it was still tightly grabbed onto by the little girl. "I'm recommending a book to a friend. You can't afford to offend this big uncle, so it's fine to leave a few comments." I've been very busy these few days, so there aren't many updates, but it will recover in the future. Thank you all for your support, and I also have to apologize. End of this chapter. Chapter 867. Everyone was shocked by this scene. The size of the silver-winged snake was huge, yet it was being held back by a smaller figure. This contrast was quite unbearable. It was like a salted fish holding back a moving aircraft carrier. This was an unscientific thing. How is this possible? Mu Xinhai involuntarily shouted. His face was filled with disbelief. This was a Dozun-level silver-winged snake, yet this little girl was able to hold it back. This silver-winged snake was struggling crazily, yet it was unable to move the little girl at all. Mu Xinhai, who was in shock, hurriedly turned around and looked at Fan Jin. Fan Jin's current shock was no less than Mu Xinhai's. In fact, it was even greater. However, seeing Mu Xinhai turn around, Fan Jin had no choice but to pretend to be calm. His expression immediately changed. Great God, Fan Jin, what do you think? There is nothing to be afraid of. Fan Jin said faintly. However, he was already cursing in his heart. Damn there is nothing to be afraid of. I have been tricked to death by you. Now, I don't even have the chance to escape. What kind of empire is this? It is even more terrifying than Broken Meridian Sect and Shin Academy. They are all perverts. Hearing Fan Jin's words, Mu Xinhai felt a lot more at ease. After all, these words represented the confidence of a peak Dozun. Looks like I have invited the right person. When Shi Yu and Xiang Liren saw this scene, sweat flowed out from their foreheads. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were drenched in sweat. They couldn't help but look at the entire Wusu Empire. They thought to themselves, what kind of empire is this? Such a big thing happened, yet the city seems to be quiet. There is no sign of panic. Could it be that the people living in this city are all supremes? Otherwise, how can they be so calm? This is a Dozun leading people to attack. Can you guys show some attitude? This will really hurt the confidence of a Dozun. These two little girls are really too perverted. Xiang Liren couldn't help but say. That twin-tailed little girl was already very awesome. I didn't expect this one to be even more awesome. Just now, I thought that it was going to be over. Who knew that it wasn't like this? My worries are really unnecessary. Looks like my life is saved today. However, here comes the problem. There is still a peak Dozun, Fan Jin. Would this voidless empire be able to handle it? Lai Gu shouted at Kai Yun, quickly drag it in, we will eat snake meat today. Alright. Kai Yun said happily. Then, he took a step back and saw that the struggling silver-winged serpent was being pulled. The huge silver-winged serpent was actually being pulled. Everyone was lying. This was simply too easy. Look at that little girl's face, there was no other expression at all. It was as if she was pulling a dog. Silver-winged serpent. Attack! Shi bellowed furiously. However, the silver-winged serpent was already in a state of panic. It simply couldn't hear Shi Yi's orders and flapped its wings fiercely. Kai Yun snorted. The little fellow is really disobedient. Little fellow? Everyone was thunderstruck by Yun Kai's words. Who would dare say that this silver-winged serpent was a small fellow? It was obviously a big fellow. It was long, thick, and very black. Anyone who saw it would be afraid. Shi felt like she was going crazy. In her eyes, the silver-winged serpent had become a little fellow. Open your eyes. Shi bellowed. The silver-winged serpent's third eye suddenly opened, and a terrifying pressure condensed. Under the terrifying pressure, even the ground trembled. However, this kind of trembling didn't spread into the city, as it was very well protected. Shi Yu exclaimed, this attack. It's very terrifying. That's right, this is the full power attack of a Dozun. This little girl is going to die. Xiang Liren was also a bit lacking in confidence. After all, this was a silver-winged serpent. Kai Yun looked at the light beam that was currently condensing in front of her. She didn't pay attention to it at all and continued to retreat step by step. As more and more Doqi condensed in the light beam grew, the entire air started to tremble. The enormous light beam illuminated Kai Yun's young and tender little face. Even now, she was still smiling. This made everyone very uncomfortable. Facing this kind of attack, can you be a bit more serious? Even if it's just withdrawing that smile, it's fine. You keep smiling, it feels as if you are just playing around. Can you be a bit more serious? The silver-winged serpent couldn't take it anymore. This little girl actually dared to humiliate it in front of everyone. This attack is going to send her to meet her father. Boom! The condensing was finally completed. A silver light beam shot out from its eyes. Bringing along a ferocious and surging evil aura, it attacked towards Kai Yun's body. Just this light beam alone was a lot bigger than Kai Yun's body. Kai Yun naturally saw it. However, his expression still didn't change, and with a young and tender smile on his face, he stretched out his hand and slapped. Pa! This slap felt as if it was slapped onto the faces of 1,000,000 people. It hurts so much. However, what happened next caused everyone to be stupefied. Because Kai Yun slapped the light beam away with a single slap. Just like a V-shaped trajectory, this ferocious light beam directly flew towards the 10 battleships. Before that terrifying aura even reached the 10 battleships, a lot of people had already evaporated. Boom, boom, boom. The light beam could be seen directly passing through 2 battleships, but the battleships did not explode and directly flew towards the horizon, because the battleships were completely unworthy of exploding. A single battleship had a total of 100,000 people. However, just a while ago, 200,000 people directly evaporated, and the battleships directly turned into fireballs and fell from the sky. Boom, boom. 2 loud sounds suddenly rang out. Everyone didn't manage to react in time, and they were all stupefied. What happened just now? Mu Xinhai even rubbed his eyes, feeling that this is fake. The enemy must have used a hateful illusion. He actually directly slapped away such a terrifying attack. Furthermore, he even killed 200,000 of my disciples. This is fake. This is simply too fake. Fan Jin's entire person felt unwell. This little girl. This can already be confirmed. She is an overlord. That attack just now, even I am unable to slap away the attack. Even if I am able to slap away the attack, I would need to rely on tools to do so. However, how could this little girl have any tools? She just casually slapped away the attack. Without reaching the strength of an overlord, how is it possible for her to do that? It's over. I kicked an iron plate this time. Fan Jin only wants Mu Xinhai to not turn around and let me, Fan Jin, be depressed for a while. If not, I still have to put on an act for you to see. There must be something wrong with my brain, to actually agree to such a thing. Right now, I have to think of a way to save myself. Xiang Liren was currently astonished, and he mumbled, this little girl most likely has the strength of an overlord. What? Overlord? Sure, you was shocked after hearing that. That's right, to directly slap away such a terrifying attack, only someone with respect would be able to do so. Xiang Liren said gravely. If this little girl is an overlord, then the previous one might also be an overlord. Also, those who are standing on top of the city walls, it can't be that they are all overlords, right? End of this chapter. Chapter 868. Just what kind of country is this voidless empire? Why are there so many honorable martial artists? Luckily, I managed to escape. Otherwise, I would definitely be dead today. At this moment, Shi was completely stunned. His silver-winged serpent's ultimate move had been slapped away, and even slapped into the group of battle arcs, instantly killing 200,000 disciples. The fire was still burning. This girl was too cruel. She didn't give them any hope. Release my snake. Shi unleashed the strength of a peak Do-di. A curved sword agglomerated in his hand. It should be a snake blade. Kai-yun, who was in the midst of shedding her snake, snorted. You're very annoying. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet. Die. Shi, who had flown into a rage out of humiliation, pointed his sword at Kai-yun's forehead. Kai-yun suddenly whispered, you should still have snakes in your clothes, right? You might as well take them out and let me roast them and eat them. Arrogant. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. One could see the snake blade in Shi-yi's hand emitting an intense glow. It involuntarily caused one to raise one's hand to block it. This peak of the Do-di class was no joke. Kai-yun once again extended his small hand, slapping the silver-winged serpent's head. The silver-winged serpent, which had been struggling violently, was stunned, and its huge body fell to the ground with a loud bang. Then, Kai-yun looked towards the oncoming Shi with a mocking gaze. When Shi met Kai-yun's gaze, he instantly had a bad feeling. However, right at this moment, a voice rang out by his ear. Is there really a snake in your sleeve? Shi suddenly turned his head and found that the little girl was on the same level as him. That's not right. Wasn't it in front? How did it end up beside him? Without waiting for Shi to react, Kai-yun grabbed onto Shi-yi's arm, then, he pulled. Ah! Shi let out a blood-curdling scream as he fell to the ground. Meanwhile, when Kai-yun grabbed onto Shi-yi's arm and shook it, he discovered that there was absolutely no snake within Shi-yi's sleeve. That's not right. All the snakes came out from his sleeves. Where are the snakes? Where did he go? Kai-yun casually swung Shi-yi's arm, and Shi-yi's arm fell to the side. Is he hiding at the other side? Stingy. Petty. Everyone was shocked by Kai-yun's brutality. Tearing the arm of a peak Do-di was something that had never been seen before. After all, who would tear the arm of a Do-di, other than this little girl? He had actually torn off the arm of a Do-di while he was still alive. He even said that others were stingy. Then, if someone were to be generous, would you tear their entire body apart? Mu Xinhai swallowed his saliva. This Shi was at the peak of the Do-di class. He already had half a foot in the Do-zun class. Was it so easy to break his arm? It was obviously not that simple, but this girl actually did it. She pulled it off alive. Mu Xinhai turned around. Fan Jin's shocked expression changed instantly, and he looked as if he had a card up his sleeve. When Mu Xinhai saw Fan Jin's expression, he felt much more at ease. He still had a super strong helper, and he would definitely be able to kill off the experts from Wushu Empire. Then, he would kill those two traitors with his own hands. Fan Jin really wanted to hide. He really didn't want to think about anything else. Upon seeing this scene, Shi-yu's heart almost stopped. I had thought that this girl was a cute girl, but I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that. This girl was actually even more savage than the previous girl. Xiang Liren didn't want to speak anymore. If he hadn't flown out, he might have ended up like Shi. Fortunately, he was smart. Fortunately, the heavens are protecting me. Lai Gu looked at Kai-yun with a smile. After Kai-yun leaves, I will definitely be the one to go on stage. This is great. After all, there aren't many experts left on the other side, and the remaining experts are all salted fishes that don't have any skills. Wait, these experts don't seem to have any skills. They are all helping His Honor to share his worries. That is the responsibility of a subordinate. Let His Honor have a good rest. Let me, Lai Gu, take care of these salted fishes. Suddenly, Lai Gu heard footsteps coming from the stairs again. Why? Why is there someone else coming again? Can't you let me, Lai Gu, act cool for a bit? As the footsteps got closer and closer, Lai Gu swallowed his saliva. Listening to the footsteps, it should be a female. Who could it be? Could it be Brett? Please don't let it be Brett, I love this kind of scene the most, don't, hubby, you are here, did you see the flag master? Yu Hua could be seen walking over while wearing a blue robe. Lai Gu let out a breath. Damn it, I was scared to death. Quickly bring your flag master away. Who are those people? Yu Hua looked towards the sky and asked curiously. Lai Gu hugged onto Yu Hua's willowy waist. Hubby, quickly bring your flag master away, she is tearing apart other people. Look, Yu Hua didn't mind Lai Gu's intimate action. Looking down from the city wall, my flag master is really tearing apart other people. However, I don't have any other thoughts. Flag master, time to go home and eat. Yu Hua shouted towards Kai Yun. Right now, Kai Yun was currently holding onto Shi Yi's other arm. Suddenly, he heard Yu Hua's voice and looked towards the city wall, then shouted out sweetly, I know, we are going to eat snake this morning, look here, what a big snake. Oh, then flag master, hurry up. Alright, let me see if he is still hiding any other snakes or not. Kai Yun smiled sweetly, then tore apart, ah. Shi Yi's mind was about to collapse. A dignified peak stage Do Emperor, was actually dismembered by a little girl in front of everyone's eyes, impossible. How did it become like this? Shouldn't the normal plot be me and the others attacking Wushu Empire, then killing people? Why did I get killed instead? This is simply a nightmare. Hearing the conversation between the little girl and the woman on the city wall, the remaining people felt that they had gone crazy, such a cruel scene, and you all actually still have the mood to chat, and talk about eating breakfast. Just what kind of people are these people? Suddenly, I thought of something, the woman on the city wall seemed to have told the little girl to go home and eat. Quickly go back, listen to your mother, go home and eat. Children shouldn't get involved in the matters of adults, this is not right. In the future, don't act recklessly, and even more so, don't casually tear apart other people's arms and legs. Remember, this is a bad child. At this moment, Kai Yun shook his sleeves and asked curiously, just where are you hiding your snakes? Why aren't there any inside your sleeves? Right now, both of Shi Yi's arms were missing, a large amount of blood was flowing out from his wounds, and his entire face was deathly pale. I was humiliated, and she didn't want to kill me, she was instead looking for snakes. Why would I have such a thought? If you want snakes, just say it, I have a lot of them. Why did you tear apart my arms just because of a disagreement? Can't you have a proper conversation? It couldn't have slipped into your pants, right? Kai Yun cried out in surprise, then stretched out his hand and grabbed onto Shi Yi's thigh. End of this chapter. Chapter 869. Before Shi Yi could speak, he felt a pain in his thigh. Such a cruel scene made everyone uncomfortable. This was an amputation in front of everyone. Everyone felt a chill on their backs. This scene was really shocking. That was an expert at the peak of the Do-D class. Yet, he had been tortured to death. Dojas and Do-Shis like them were not even enough to fill the gap between their teeth. Kai Yun, who was in the middle of the battlefield, shook his head and realized that there were no snakes. He pursed his lips and reached out to grab the other leg. No! Shi Yi shouted in a deep voice. He had no other choice. This little girl was too strong, so strong that he could not resist. Where are your snakes hidden? In your head? Kai Yun asked curiously. He reached out to grab his head. This scared Shi Yi so much that he almost *T himself. He could think of a way if he lost his limbs, but if he lost his head, there was really no way. No. Then they are on my leg? No. Then where are they? Kai Yun asked curiously. My home. I still have many at home. When the time comes, I'll give them all to you, okay? Shi Yi begged for mercy. He did not dare to boast anymore. He regretted jumping down. Look at Yang Yao. He had died so easily. He had been killed with one punch without any pain. Look at himself. He had been humiliated in front of everyone and had his leg amputated. Don't think that Kai Yun did not know anything. As the boss of the 5 flags, Kai Yun's cruelty was outrageous. His favorite thing to do was to tear people apart while they were still alive. Looking at Yu Hua on the city tower, she did not stop him because she knew Kai Yun's hobby. You lied to me. You lied to me to go to your home. You're so bad. After Kai Yun finished speaking, he grabbed his remaining leg. Ah! A painful cry resounded between heaven and earth. This was the painful cry of a Dodi. At this moment, Mu Xinhai was frozen. This was the first time he had seen such a cruel little girl. She could be compared to the demons from 10 years ago. She was simply inhumane. Fan Jin had already closed his eyes, looking as if he could not see anything and did not want to see anything. Still nothing. You liar. I hate liars the most. Kai Yun snorted delicately and grabbed the snake blade beside him. As a peak Dodi, Shi was still alive. It was just very painful. However, his entire body was suppressed and he was unable to move at all. Only now did he realize how powerful this little girl was. Their strength was simply not on the same level. It must be in your body, right? Little liar, do you think I don't know? Kai Yun grinned, but in Shi Yi's eyes, this grin was a terrifying sinister grin. No. No. I won't lie to you. Please don't hurt me. Hee. Kai Yun held the serpent blade in his hand and gently sliced open Shi Yi's robe. He didn't expect Shi Yi to have muscles. Everyone held their breaths. With such a thing happening, no one dared to rush down to save him. This was the intimidation that came from Kai Yun, and he was much stronger than Yi Zizi. At the very least, his method of killing made one's scalp go numb. Kai Yun held the serpent blade in his hand and pressed it against Shi Yi's Adam's apple. It's definitely inside your body, and I've discovered it, right? No. Kai Yun revealed a young and tender smile, directly stabbing in, and then slicing open. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Ripper. An expert at the peak of the Emperor realm had his limbs amputated and then his chest cut open in front of everyone. This wasn't a little girl, this was a savage demon. Sure, you couldn't bear to watch anymore and directly turned around. Meanwhile, although Xiang Liren was still watching, his gaze revealed an expression of shock. This was truly the first time he had seen such a scene, and the degree of shock was incomparable. Then, he looked at the man and woman on the city wall. That man was hugging the woman and looking at the scene with a smile, not showing the slightest bit of disgust. Meanwhile, that woman was the same, appearing to be very calm. F***ck. Just who are these people? Why can they be so cruel to such an extent? However, Xiang Liren was also thinking that if Voidless Empire couldn't do it, then the cruelty would fall on them, and even on him. After all, this was a place where strength reigned supreme. The people who were originally clamoring all quietened down. Cold wind whistled on the battlefield. Kai Yun took a glance and said, there's nothing at all. Liar. I'm not playing with you anymore. Kai Yun directly tossed away the serpent blade and walked to the side, dragging the silver-winged great snake. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. Crimson Soul Fire. Kai Yun shouted out sweetly, and golden flames emitted from both of his hands. These weren't mystical flames, but they were more than enough to roast the silver-winged great snake. The golden flames instantly enveloped the silver-winged great snake's body, and the armor turned red from the heat, then melted in the end. A fragrance gradually drifted in the air. This was the fragrance of snake meat. Kai Yun was already swallowing his saliva. Shi Yi, who was lying on the ground, had yet to die, but he could still smell the fragrance of snake meat. She actually roasted my own snake. That was a silver-winged great snake that I had raised for several hundred years. Just like my own child, it was actually roasted alive right now. PFFF. A mouthful of blood spurted out from Shi Yi's mouth. Kai Yun could see that the heart was beating intensely, and then it became slower and slower, then finally stopped. However, a golden ball flew out from the center of Shi Yi's brows. Primordial spirit. Kai Yun naturally saw it. It sure ran fast. Kai Yun could be seen pouting, then fiercely inhaled. The primordial spirit that was running away was instantly sucked back by a strong suction force. Shi Yi's primordial spirit could be seen struggling crazily. However, it was completely useless. It entered Kai Yun's small mouth. Kai Yun licked the corner of his mouth. The taste is not bad. Let's go and eat snake meat. Kai Yun directly dragged the silver-winged great snake back to the city. Everyone just watched like this. Gradually, the tail of the silver-winged great snake disappeared at the city gate. However, the city gate was still open. Mu Xinhai seemed to have understood something. They didn't care at all. On the battlefield, Shi Yi's corpse was still on the spot. Everyone had yet to react and were still immersed in shock. Mu Xinhai turned his head again and actually saw Fan Jin resting with his eyes closed. He was a little more at ease. As expected of a great god. Even I am shocked, but he doesn't panic at all. He doesn't even care to look at me anymore. As expected of Fan Jin, an existence at the peak of the Dozun class. I have to properly learn from this calmness. Why did this little girl leave? Shi Yu asked curiously. Shouldn't they continue fighting? Xiang Liren sighed. Let's go back and eat breakfast. Could it be that eating breakfast is really so important? I don't think we need to eat breakfast. Shi Yu couldn't understand. Why didn't Xiang Liren take advantage of his victory and continue attacking? There is still a peak of the Dozun class here. If you are a Zhizun, you should continue fighting. Why eat breakfast? Oh my god, on the city gate tower, Yu Hua smiled and said, Hubby, I will go down first. You can slowly play by yourself. End of this chapter. Chapter 870. Alright, don't tell others. Yu Hua laughed lightly. Alright, I won't tell others. After saying that, she even kissed Lai Gu's cheek. This made Lai Gu very happy. Yu Hua is really a good woman, I like her more and more, she is too sensible. After Yu Hua left, the smile on Lai Gu's face gradually disappeared and he stared at everyone. That match just now doesn't count. Everyone, after Shi Yu and Xiang Liren heard it, they didn't have any emotions. Such a person, you can play however you want, it's still up to you. On the other hand, the remaining 800,000 people were all quiet. Everyone had a deep fear, especially when they saw the corpse of the Do Di, they felt that it was so unreal. A peak Do Di was toyed to death just like that. A Do Di was toyed to death, everyone couldn't accept such a fact. Could it be that all Do Di are made of paper? Are they so easy to bully? Hey! Why aren't you guys talking? Show me some spirit, let me get excited. Lai Gu shouted again. Just 2 matches and everyone is scared, this won't do. If you guys are scared, then what am I going to do? It's all Yi Zizi and Kai Yun's fault, these 2 little girls scared people to the point of peeing, don't they know how to act, let them feel that there's hope, then it'll be interesting to fight like this. Although they are very weak, there's still something to play with, I'm so bored that my balls are about to break. Hey, don't leave the stage cold, quickly send the next one up. Lai Gu shouted loudly, it's finally my turn, I'm so excited, I feel that my life has reached the climax. Facing Lai Gu's shout, Mu Xinhai didn't know how to reply, he felt that if he said it out, he would definitely be slapped. What should I do now? I still have to ask for help from Fan Jin who is behind me, there's no other way, I can only rely on Fan Jin to win this match, if not I'll lose all my face. Thinking until here, Mu Xinhai turned his head and looked at Fan Jin who was resting with his eyes closed, then softly shouted, Fan Jin, why don't? Before Mu Xinhai could finish his sentence, Fan Jin's eyes snapped open. A vast aura came out from those eyes. This was a huge battle intent. Mu Xinhai could feel that this was the anger of a peak Dozun. All of you have already provoked a ferocious Dozun. He would definitely receive the fury of a Dozun. Today, this Wushu Empire would turn into a raging fire that would burn for 3 days and 3 nights. Everyone would be buried with him. Great God Fan Jin, I'll be counting on you from now on. Mu Xinhai said in a low voice. Fan Jin did not say anything and slowly walked in front of Mu Xinhai. Looking at Fan Jin's straight back, Mu Xinhai heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily, they managed to invite God Fan Jin over this time. Otherwise, things would have been difficult. This voidless empire actually had such a character. Just how powerful was the man standing on the city gate tower? Right now, Lin Fan still did not know. Also, he did not know how strong that woman from earlier was. How many more people like her were there in the voidless empire? It was only at this moment that Mu Xinhai realized that he truly did not know anything at all. He did not know anything about the voidless empire at all, and then he charged over right away. He lacked information. Actually, in Mu Xinhai's eyes, no matter how strong an empire could have, they would at most be the Do Shi. The slightly better ones would be Do Wang and Do Huang. Therefore, he was not worried at all. In the end, a peak Do Zong on his side was shattered with a single punch. There was also a peak Do Di who was directly amputated. Even his primordial spirit was devoured. This was too terrifying. If it was possible, Mu Xinhai wanted to retreat. However, 200,000 of his disciples had died. If he were to retreat now, he would become the laughing stock of the northern region. He could not afford to bear the consequences. Right now, he could only rely on great God Fan Jin. When Xiang Liren and Shi Yu saw Fan Jin standing out, their gazes gradually became solemn. Looks like they were going to play their cards, and they even used their king. Fan Jin has stepped out. I'm afraid that the Voidless Empire will have to treat this seriously. Shi Yu said quietly. This Fan Jin is a peak Dozun. He is not on the same level as this Shi. If the Voidless Empire wishes to win, they must send out a Jizun. If there is no Jizun, it would be hard to say. Xiang Liren said in a deep voice. He was a little worried. The main reason was that the girl who loved to eat breakfast had left. Otherwise, he would not be worried. The strength that the little girl had displayed earlier was at least that of a Jizun. She would definitely be able to fight against Fan Jin. However, she ran away, to eat breakfast. You guys are in danger of having your city destroyed, yet you ran away just like that. You guys don't have any sense of responsibility at all. Also, the Emperor of the Voidless Empire. He has already fought his way to our doorstep, yet he still hasn't appeared. At the very least, he should have come out to take a look at the situation. What is this? Attacking the city, defending the city, this is simply child's play. Is this Fan Jin really that powerful? Shi Yu asked doubtfully. She did not understand. Xiang Liren laughed softly. This Fan Jin has reached the peak of the Dozun class a long time ago. Regardless of whether it is in terms of combat experience or other aspects, he can be considered a pseudo-Jizun. Therefore, only a Jizun can win. If it is an ordinary peak Dozun, it is likely that they will not be able to defeat Fan Jin. So that is the case. In that case, we will have to see who the Voidless Empire sends out. Shi Yu's gaze landed on the city gate tower. Will they send out a powerful Jizun? Why would I have such a terrifying thought? Jizun are not cabbages that can be found on the streets, how can there be so many of them? At this moment, Fan Jin looked towards the man on the city gate tower and shouted out gravely, "Is there something that you did not tell me?" Hearing Fan Jin's words, everyone became doubtful. What is going on? Is this a declaration before a battle? Why does it feel so strange? Mu Xinhai felt that a god is a god, even the declaration before a battle is different from others, even I am unable to guess it. Lai Gu was a little confused. What did I not tell him? What does he mean? Oi, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Lai Gu asked back. Fan Jin shouted out again, what is that over there? Fan Jin could be seen pointing towards the spectator seats. Lai Gu said confusedly, that is the spectator seats. But why don't I know? Is it because I came late? You guys are too unreasonable. Fan Jin rebuked angrily. You guys are simply too shameless. I came here halfway, you guys should at least inform me and let me make a choice, right? Fan Jin's words caused everyone to be a little stupefied, especially Mu Xinhai. He felt that his brain was a little unable to react. Xiang Liren and Sure you were also the same. What is this Fan Jin planning to do? Why did he suddenly talk about the spectator seats? End of this chapter. Chapter 871. Lai Gu was a little speechless. What is this person trying to do? He even has the mood to chat. Fan Jin's heart sank when he saw that the other party did not speak. The only thing that can save me now is the audience seats. Be it losing face or being mocked by others, life is the most important thing. Then what do you want to do? Lai Gu asked. Say it again. Lai Gu was helpless and said indifferently, all right, seeing that you don't know what is going on, I will say it again. The audience seats are the audience, I will not hurt you, give. Before Lai Gu could finish his words, Fan Jin's silhouette had already disappeared. In an instant, he appeared beside Shiryu. His speed was so fast that it made people speechless. This was probably the speed of a peak dozun or even faster. Lai Gu's mouth twitched. Damn it! I got tricked. Mu Xinhai opened his mouth wide. The god that he believed in actually ran to the audience seats, and he did it at such a fast speed. Do other people know that you are so outstanding? To actually be in cahoots with some traitors, if this matter were to spread, how are you going to survive in the north? There were still very few people who knew Fan Jin's identity. At least in the eyes of those 800,000 people, he was another deserter. But for some reason, they were very envious. They really wanted to be an audience. Just standing there would be danger at any moment. Just like those two battleships just now, before the people inside could react, they turned into air and disappeared. Who knows what will happen later? Shiryu and Xiang Liren were also very shocked. A legendary person actually stood together with them. They suddenly realized that they were not embarrassed anymore. Instead, they were very proud. Because there were only 3 smart people among the 1 million people. Even if they lost face, there was still a peak dozun accompanying them. How comfortable it was. I am an audience. Fan Jin said indifferently. I am definitely going to be an audience. No one can drag me away, no matter who pleads for me, it will be useless. Luckily I ran away quickly just now, giving the other party no chance to retort. In front of so many people, you will probably feel embarrassed to go back on your words. It was really scary just now. My speed reached a peak value. As expected, only fear can stimulate my potential. Actually, Shiryu was very excited now. Standing beside him was a peak do di and a peak dozun. The most glorious moment of his life had appeared. Mu Xinhai's chest started heaving up and down. He had never thought that even Fan Jin would choose to be a spectator. Fan Jin. Why did you do that? Mu Xinhai asked in a deep voice. He really couldn't understand. Could it be that he had been frightened by the other party? But you are a pseudo-sovereign. As long as the opponent does not have a sovereign, you will still have the upper hand. Fan Jin looked at Mu Xinhai and shouted, you're asking me why? I was dragged here by you without knowing anything. You're trying to frame me. How dare you try to plunder such a magnificent empire? I, Fan Jin, despise people like you, and will never associate myself with you. Please don't talk to me anymore, because you're not worthy. Mu Xinhai's entire person was in a bad mood. This Fan Jin was actually anxious to draw a clear line between them. Simply shameless. Back then, when you were injured, didn't I help you? If it weren't for me, I'm afraid you would have died. Such a life-saving favor was actually abandoned at this time. Scum. What a scumbag. She was even more of a scumbag than that little girl. This is a hypocrite. Today, I finally saw it clearly. If I knew that this day would come, I wouldn't have saved him back then. I should have just let him die on the spot. Look at how hypocritical he is. He doesn't even have the intention to humiliate me, and he even has an upright and plain-spoken expression. Mu Xinhai felt that his lungs were going to explode from anger. Right now, Lai Gu was also feeling the same. I was still too honest, and I was actually tricked. But luckily, among these people, that boss is still here. Later on, I'll just play with boss for a bit, and then I'll smoothly end this battle. This is really a little boring. Originally, I still wanted to play with this expert, but in the end, he ran to the spectator seats. He's really too cowardly. Opposite. Now, only you are left, come and fight. Lai Gu shouted towards Mu Xinhai. Let us fight to our heart's content. To be able to die under my sharp claws, that's also your happiness. Mu Xinhai was also a proud person. Although Fan Jin ran away, he didn't give in at all. Instead, the flames in his chest continued to rise by quite a bit. His body trembled. Mu Xinhai directly descended, clenched his fist and shouted, Yuan Yang Manor will definitely win. Following Mu Xinhai's words, the disciples behind him immediately followed along and shouted loudly. Yuan Yang Manor will definitely win. Yuan Yang Manor will definitely win. Yuan Yang Manor will definitely win. The powerful voice soared into the clouds, seeming so high. The originally low morale was instantly ignited, and everyone's blood started to boil. This is the Manor Master. He is the soul of their hearts, how can they not be excited? I feel that as long as the Manor Master steps out, no matter how powerful the person is, they will have to kick the bucket. Lai Gu admired this Manor Master for daring to come down even now. On the other hand, that person who ran away just now is really trash. He doesn't have the imposing manner of a Manor Master at all. I have to give you a look of disdain. However, this Fan Jin is quite smart, knowing that he can't win, he chose to save himself. Forget it, I'll just treat it as releasing a dog, it won't cause any huge waves. Who knows, I might even be able to publicize Wushu Empire's battle achievements. Suddenly, Lai Gu heard footsteps coming from the stairs. His entire body darkened. It's here again. Who exactly is it? Could it be that Yu Hua called me to go and eat breakfast? Didn't I say just now, don't disturb me from acting cool, this is the last time. Lai Gu looked towards his right side, and a beautiful figure appeared. Furthermore, it's the woman that I don't want to see the most, Brett, who was still carrying Zhu Tian in his embrace. Lai Gu squeezed out a smile and said, Brett, what are you doing here? Oh, Yu Hua called you to go and eat breakfast, so she asked me to come over and take a look. Brett said faintly as she stroked Zhu Tian with her slender hands. Zhu Tian squinted his eyes and had a look of enjoyment on his face. Lai Gu immediately covered his face. Yu Hua, what are you doing? In my, Lai Gu's, heart, you are a very sensible woman, to actually ask me to go and eat breakfast. I am a bone dragon, is there really a need for me to care about breakfast? Lai Gu smiled and said, I will go after a while, settle this place first. No need, leave this place to me. Brett felt that it had been a long time since he last fought, and these people in front of him can be of some use. Let me do it, girls shouldn't fight and kill, Zhu Tian doesn't like it either. Lai Gu hurriedly persuaded. Can you guys not be like this, please give me a chance. End of chapter. Chapter 872. Meow. Zhu Tian looked at Lai Gu covetously, seemingly saying, quickly go and eat your breakfast, my woman wants to move around. Lai Gu felt deep despair. If it was someone else, I can still give an order, but these people are the only ones that I cannot afford to offend. Alright, Brett, pay attention to your face. Lai Gu still reminded. Got it. How could Brett not know? Back then, I was in my human form, those who saw me before would definitely be able to recognize me. Lai Gu took one last look at those people, then went downstairs with reluctance. The entire street was filled with silver-winged snakes, and countless people came over with knives to eat the snake meat while shouting, "Long live the Emperor." Lai Gu quickly found Yu Hua. Hubby, why did you come back? Are you done settling everything? Kai Yun and Yu Hua could be seen enjoying delicious food with a comfortable look on their faces. When Lai Gu heard this, he knew that he was fooled again. You bunch of trap dogs, don't let me catch you next time, I'll trap you all to death. Sure, you and Xiang Liren were a bit confused. Why did that man go down? And then, a woman carrying a cat appeared. This woman looks weak and soft, could it be that she wants to fight? Just as the two finished thinking, Brett carried Zhu Tian and descended down from the city gate tower. Dressed in a red cheongsam with a slit, paired with a pair of red high heels and a bun, Brett was simply incomparably beautiful. The first two were little girls, and everyone only saw them as underage children, but this woman, that's a mature woman, look at that slit on her pants, that white skin, seems like it's very stimulating, I really want to go and lick it. Sure, you asked Fan Jin, who was at the side. Great God, Fan Jin, how powerful do you think this woman is? Is she Mu Xinhai's opponent? Fan Jin let out a light sigh, then said slowly, did you two not notice? Did the surrounding space get sealed? When the two heard Fan Jin's words, their expressions sunk, and they immediately went to feel. Indeed, it was just like what Fan Jin said, the surrounding space got sealed, even a small tadpole can't crawl out. Then, Xiang Liren muttered, his gaze was filled with astonishment. We don't even know when the surrounding space got sealed, isn't this strength a little too terrifying? Fan Jin said in a deep voice, our lives are in the hands of this void empire. Since the great god had already said it like this, Xiang Liren and sure you didn't say anything anymore. Originally, I came here today to trample on voidless empire, but now, my life is in the hands of Wushu Empire. Even if I'm standing on the spectator seats, I still don't feel very safe, because who knew if they would keep their word? Is there no way to save myself? Xiang Liren asked with a trace of despair. He felt that voidless empire would not let him off. No matter what, they were here to kill, so how could the other party let them go? In the beginning, they were just watching him make a fool of himself and trying to dampen the morale of this side. Hopefully, praying to the heavens would still work. Where are the four women from before? Sure, you suddenly let out a sound of doubt, mainly because when he saw Brett being so beautiful, he suddenly thought of the woman that night. However, neither Fan Jin nor Xiang Liren knew about this. What woman? Fan Jin asked in a low voice. He wanted to know what kind of existence this Wushu Empire was. Oh, you two still don't know about this matter. It was during the night a few days ago, when we were fighting over the strange fire. Sure, you told them about what happened. After listening to what happened, Fan Jin and Xiang Liren's brows tightly locked together. Why do I feel like I fell into someone else's trap? That man in the wheelchair is not simple at all. Fan Jin didn't even think about the matter regarding the strange fire, and he only felt that that man was very terrifying. Xiang Liren said gravely, that's right, from what you said, that man's strength is most likely the strongest. I feel like he is trying to lure Yuan Yang Manor over here. But what is his purpose? Sure, you didn't understand. Fan Jin paused for a moment, then said faintly, Yuan Yang Manor came to Voidless Empire today. I'm afraid that half of the northern region knows about it, because this news was spread by Mu Xinhai himself. And this Voidless Empire is located in a place like Northern Liang, and they lack the recognition of the outside world. Xiang Liren said casually. The three's eyes immediately lit up. They seemed to have understood Voidless Empire's purpose. Sure, you said gravely, this voidless empire is trying to use Yuanyang Manor to make a name for themselves. Fan Jin and Xiang Liren didn't speak. If they didn't guess wrongly, that should be the reason. If that was really the case, the three looked at the remaining 800,000 disciples. I'm afraid that not a single one of them would be able to leave here alive today. And this Mu Xinhai didn't know anything at all, and he just brought his men and rushed over here. But this Mu Xinhai couldn't be blamed for being impulsive. Both of his protectors had died. No matter what, he had to take revenge. And it just so happened that he discovered that this voidless empire was very good. That's killing two birds with one stone. If it's possible, I really want to go in and take a look. Fan Jin said faintly. He was filled with curiosity towards voidless empire. What kind of empire was this exactly? On the battlefield, Brett carried Zhu Tian and looked at Mu Xinhai, who wasn't far away. Just now, when he carried Zhu Tian out for a stroll, he saw that there was a huge snake on the street, and everyone was eating snake meat. After asking Kai Yun about it, he directly walked up the city gate tower and sent Lai Gu away. After all, it had been a long time since he last exercised. His body was about to become rusty. Although this person in front of him was very weak, at least he could still exercise a little. Mu Xinhai looked at the woman in front of him. His expression was rather heavy. What strength this woman has, I don't know. What is that cat in her arms, I don't know. What kind of weapon does this woman have, I don't know. I don't even know about the entire voidless empire. I was really too careless this time. I shouldn't have rushed over so anxiously. At the very least, I should have investigated first. Be good, sit on my shoulder, Brett said gently as he kissed Zhu Tian, who was in his embrace. Zhu Tian let out a lazy moan, then squatted on Brett's shoulder and looked at Mu Xinhai, who was in front of him with a bored expression. Brett didn't have any good impressions of people. In her eyes, these people were all ants under the heavens. Whether they were alive or dead, it made no difference to Brett. Therefore, since these people dared to come, there was no need for them to return. Mu Xinhai locked onto Brett tightly, and two blades actually appeared in his hands. Scarlet flame blades. It was an extremely rare primordial godly item. After all, it was a pair of blades, and normally, there would only be one blade. Furthermore, these scarlet flame blades were emitting out a faint red glow, and it seemed like they had been tempered 5 times already. Mu Xinhai held onto the scarlet flame blades in his hands tightly, and he felt a sense of confidence growing from the bottom of his heart. What are you guys here for? Brett asked faintly. Mu Xinhai was a bit puzzled. Is there even a need to ask? I am here to massacre the city. Mu Xinhai didn't avoid the topic and directly spoke out his purpose. End of this chapter. Chapter 873. Brett chuckled. Massacre the city. I really miss the days of massacring cities. It's a pity that you guys can't be here. Don't even think about doing it. Mu Xinhai waved the scarlet flame dual blades in his hands, releasing arcs of light. Puff! A ferocious wave of air swept out, causing Brett's Cheongsam to flutter. Those shining white thighs were really enough to make one drool. However, only the cat on his shoulder dared to play with this pair of legs. After all, Brett's temper was not very good, and he would lose his temper easily. Just like now, he was a little unhappy. Whether you can do it or not will depend on your ability. As the sound of his voice faded, a powerful aura erupted from Mu Xinhai. It spread out in all directions, and even the sky stopped snowing. The clouds gradually dispersed, and sunlight shone on the earth. Brett said indifferently, my ability is not something you can hope for. I'm afraid you can't bear it. As soon as he finished speaking, an aquamarine bow formed in Brett's hand. This bow was Brett's true weapon. Profound rainbow treasured moon. A top-notch primordial artifact, not a third-rate primordial artifact. Speaking of this bow, there was a story behind it. The owner of this bow was Brett's sister. Back then, absolute heaven had saved Brett. In the end, Brett had killed his own sister, and this weapon had also fallen into Brett's hands. Actually, this bow was given to Brett, but it was snatched away by his sister. When the profound rainbow-treasured moon appeared, Mu Xinhai's aura vanished without a trace. The entire world was suppressed by the profound rainbow-treasured moon in Brett's hands, causing everyone to tremble. This was a primordial divine weapon. They were not on the same level at all. You. Prehistoric divine artifact. Mu Xinhai asked blankly, his eyes filled with shock. At least you have some foresight. Brett's right hand was already on the bowstring. To be precise, there was no bowstring, but when Brett touched it, a strand of hair appeared. Moreover, when they came into contact, a wave of righteous chi suddenly erupted, sweeping through the entire scene. The oppressive atmosphere made everyone feel as if their hearts were about to explode. Was this the pressure of an ancient divine artifact? Mu Xinhai arched his body slightly. It wasn't that he wanted to, but that he couldn't bear it. He couldn't resist it at all. Even Fan Jin, who was standing far away, could clearly feel it. Is this a primeval artifact? Xiang Liren murmured. Although Fan Jin didn't say anything, he looked at the bow with a complicated expression. There was envy, jealousy, and yearning. It would be great if he could have a primordial divine weapon. Shi Yu's entire body froze. This time, he really froze. He was suppressed by this aura to the point that he couldn't move. Ancient Era Divine Weapon, this was actually the legendary Ancient Era Divine Weapon. What the hell was up with this voidless empire? They even had something like a great desolate divine equipment, and it was even held by a woman. Just now, those two little girls didn't even reveal their weapons. Does it mean that they don't have any weapons, or do they also have ancient divine weapons? The shock brought about by Void Empire was too intense. Brett slowly drew his bow, and a destructive aura condensed on the profound rainbow treasure moon. The entire world shook, and everyone fell into a momentary daze. This was the passive ability of the profound rainbow treasure moon. It was truly impossible to defend against. Even the Dozun Mu Xinhai was absent-minded. As Brett loosened his grip, a green arrow flew out. The speed was so fast that no one was able to catch it. The air seemed to have been scorched, and the beautiful green arrow was intoxicating. However, the arrow carried the color of death. Mu Xinhai could see that the arrow was flying toward him. He wanted to raise his hands to block it, but it was as if his hands were being held by someone, and he was unable to raise them at all. Facing a great desolate divine equipment, I actually don't even have the chance to resist. How is this possible? The green arrow flew past Mu Xinhai's face. Although it didn't touch Mu Xinhai's face, a trace of blood had still appeared on Mu Xinhai's face. The arrow was flying toward one of the battleships. Boom! The arrow instantly penetrated through the defense of the battleship and exploded within the battleship. The huge battleship turned into a fireball in the sky, and the surrounding temperature instantly rose. Bang! The fireball smashed onto the ground and ignited a raging fire. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of people disappeared. Mu Xinhai finally felt that strength had returned to his body, and this was the strength that came from anger. Brett didn't say anything and drew his bow once again. Mu Xinhai instantly felt that his strength was being sucked dry again. If you have the guts, come at me. Mu Xinhai shouted at Brett. Brett said coldly, when you chose to come, you had already dragged them into hell. I am only completing my mission, but you have failed. I will bear all the consequences. Why did you kill my disciples? Because I am happy. After Brett finished speaking, another arrow was shot out. Boom! Dazzling sparks bloomed in the sky, and another 100,000 people died. Mu Xinhai was completely stunned. If this was a battle between two armies, it would be acceptable if there were casualties on both sides. However, this wasn't the case at all. This was a complete massacre. using a great desolate divine equipment to kill some Do-shur and Do-shur. You vicious woman, you will die a horrible death. Mu Xinhai cursed angrily. Are you vicious or am I vicious? You have already fought your way to my doorstep. Don't tell me you want me to lay down my weapons and surrender, and let you slaughter the commoners. As Brett's words fell, he drew his bow once again. When the people on the battleship saw this, they all knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Everyone's face was filled with fear and the desire to live. Some of them even begged bitterly. Don't kill me, we are only obeying the prefecture master's orders. Let me go, I will be married next month. I will be a father next month. However, Brett could not hear these words. Before you want to kill others, you should be prepared to be killed. Brett's hand loosened. Bayou. Boom. Another battleship was set ablaze. Brett looked as if she was shooting at a target, appearing very relaxed. However, to Mu Xinhai, this woman was a killing maniac. Each arrow took away 100,000 lives, and those were all Yuanyang residents' disciples. It was all his power. If you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. Brett laughed coldly, one-on-one. Do you have the right? You can't even block one arrow. Bayou. Another arrow. Boom. Just like that, Fan Jin and the other two could only watch on as Brett killed them with arrow after arrow. This sort of method was simply hair-raising. After all, each arrow killed 100,000 people. No matter how ruthless she would not be able to do this. However, this woman did not have the slightest bit of pity, and even seemed to be enjoying this moment. What exactly had cultivated this woman, and the cat on her shoulder? That expression was so human-like, and it was even yawning out of boredom. Mu Xinhai had no strength left to kneel on the ground. He did not even have time to unleash a single move before he knelt in front of Brett. End of this chapter. Chapter 874. Me. Mu Xinhai. Yuanyang Manor's manor master is begging you. Let my disciple go, you can take my life. Mu Xinhai shouted. He was a courageous person. In order to save his own disciple, he was willing to sacrifice his life. This made Fan Jin admire him a little. Xiang Liren and Sure you were the same. This woman made a Dozun kneel down and beg for mercy, her goal was achieved. However, this wasn't Brett's goal. Those who dared to cause trouble in Wusu Empire should be prepared to die. Is his honor's territory a place where you can come and go as you please? Then you are too daring. If his honor was here, your death would be called hopeless. I am just giving you a quick death. Brett ignored Mu Xinhai who was begging for mercy and pulled the bow once again. Mu Xinhai who was kneeling down clenched his fists as he listened to the explosion behind him. Those arrows, although they didn't hit me, it was more painful than if they hit me. Enough. It was unknown where Mu Xinhai got the strength from, but he actually stood up. Because right now, there was only one battleship left. All the disciples on the battleship were crying. There was nothing they could do. They were killed by a woman just like that. There were 9 balls of flames burning on the ground. Those were 900,000 people. Originally, they came over happily and were prepared to kill in all directions. Now, they didn't even get down from the battleship. Furthermore, the enemies only appeared a little, and they died just like that. Unwillingness. Even dying under the blade of the enemy was better than dying like this. Stop killing. Mu Xinhai shouted angrily. Why? Brett asked indifferently. My life in exchange for the remaining 100,000 people. Mu Xinhai said solemnly. Brett slowly put down the mysterious moon, then, I can consider it. Mu Xinhai took a deep breath and turned to look at Fan Jin. Suddenly, he knew why Fan Jin had to run. Because these people weren't a match for him at all. They didn't even have the strength to resist. My decision was wrong, I implicated my own disciple. I am a failed manner master, a failed manner master. Mu Xinhai let out a long sigh. His right hand turned into a palm and fiercely slapped towards the top of his head. Bang! A shockwave instantly spread out. Mu Xinhai looked at the sky in a daze. My life actually fell in front of an empire. This was something I didn't expect. When Shiryu saw Mu Xinhai commit suicide, his entire person was half dumbfounded. He had forced a Dozun to death. He had never heard of it. Even a storyteller wouldn't make up such a ridiculous story. But today, it happened right in front of his eyes. Didn't this mean something? Xiang Liren sighed softly. Dozun. In the Kangluo continent, he was a person of status. In order to save his disciple, Mu Xinhai chose to commit suicide. This courage was not something that ordinary people could do. Even if he couldn't do it, after all, his life was the most important. Today, he had a different view of Mu Xinhai. Fan Jin felt the same way. Looking at the fallen Mu Xinhai, he sighed in his heart. Don't blame me for not remembering our past relationship. My opponent was simply too strong, and I had no choice. If I had known that something like this would happen, I wouldn't have done anything about it. I would never have come. As Mu Xinhai's body collapsed, a small golden ball floated out. This was Mu Xinhai's primordial spirit. Brett said lightly, I've thought about it. After saying that, he raised his bow again. Mu Xinhai's primordial spirit roared angrily. You untrustworthy woman. You will go to hell after you die. Brett's arrow directly stopped Mu Xinhai's primordial spirit, and along with the last battleship, the battleship turned into flames. Meanwhile, there were still some battleships from small sects that were kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Brett didn't say anything and just shot an arrow towards the sky. A perfect arc appeared, and the arrow could be seen turning into countless arrows in the sky, falling down with a terrifying aura. Everyone could see the arrowhead clearly. They watched it fall, and the sky suddenly burst with countless explosions. Out of the millions of people, only 3 were left. Fan Jin, Xiang Liren, and Shiryu's faces were all tensed up. It was their turn now. Brett didn't say anything and continued to pull the bow. Looking at this scene, the 3 were so scared that they peed in their pants. Fan Jin's strength was the strongest, and thus, he was still able to finish his sentence. On the other hand, Xiang Liren and Shiryu didn't even have the strength to speak. Senior. This is the spectator seats, we agreed that we wouldn't kill them. Fan Jin hurriedly explained. This is the spectator seats, do you see that? The 3 big words are so obvious. Meow, at this moment, Zhu Tian suddenly called out. Brett pouted his mouth, then turned his head around and kissed Zhu Tian. Meanwhile, Zhu Tian had a look of disgust on his face, as if Brett had dirted his fur. Since the 3 were going to stay, Brett didn't say anything. The profound rainbow-treasured moon that was in his hand disappeared, and Brett flew back towards the city gate and disappeared. Fan Jin and the other 2 let out a breath of relief. Although they didn't know why that woman suddenly stopped, it was still a good thing. In the end, they were still able to stay alive. Fan Jin sensed for a bit, and the spatial seal has already been released. This means that, I can really leave now. However, Fan Jin looked towards Wushu Empire, wanting to go in and take a look. Not only Fan Jin thought so, Xiang Liren and Shiryu also thought so. However, they still don't dare to leave today. It wasn't easy for them to leave. What if they regret their decision later on? Therefore, they have to leave right now. We will meet again in the future. Fan Jin cupped his hands and said, then immediately disappeared. Xiang Liren also didn't dare to stay any longer. Goodbye. After finished speaking, Xiang Liren left as well. Shiryu stood at the scene by himself and went into a daze for a while, then ran away as well. Why would I dare to come to such a terrifying place? In the future, I won't come here even if I am beaten to death. 1,000,000 people came, and in the end, only 3 people were left. This was already the best result. Right now, in the city, the streets were filled with people. The silver-winged snake was divided among the people in the city, and Lai Gu and Yu Hua were currently enjoying the meat. There was also Lai Gu and Yu Hua. However, Lai Gu had a stern face and had a look of hidden bitterness on his face. Everything was messed up by you guys. It was clearly I, Lai Gu, who discovered the silver-winged snake. You bunch of shameless people, especially Brett. To actually lie to me, shameless, to not even let me play with a piece of trash, you guys are simply too bad. The people in the city were completely not worried that someone would invade into the city, and they were happily eating the snake meat. The snake meat was truly too fragrant. This was the best food that they had ever eaten. Of course, it was the best food. After all, this was a battle emperor snake, eating it would be extremely nourishing. Especially for ordinary people, after eating it, their lifespan would increase every year, and they would be immune to all kinds of diseases. Within the imperial palace, Yi Hua slowly opened his eyes, and Qing Yutong who was on his chest was actually drooling, and there was even a puddle of saliva on his chest. Qing Yutong. Yi Hua couldn't help but shout out. Qing Yutong didn't shout out, but instead, she woke up Qing Ye and Dong Huang Baiji who were beside her. Yi Hua, what happened? Qing Ye thought that something happened and hurriedly asked. End of chapter. Chapter 875. Look at your sister. Why is he the same as you? Yi Hua couldn't help but complain. I am a man who has mysophobia, and looking at the saliva on my chest, I am a bit dizzy. Qing Ye smiled helplessly, then poked Qing Yutong's head. Sob, sob, sob in your head, quickly get up. Qing Ye shouted out. Qing Yutong touched onto her mouth. I'm so tired, brother-in-law is too good at messing around, I can't take it anymore. Qing Yutong, look at what you have done. Yi Hua said gravely. Qing Yutong opened her beautiful eyes and secretly took a peek. Damn, what a big puddle of saliva. Brother-in-law doesn't seem to like this the most. Brother-in-law, how about I suck it away for you? Yi Hua was angered to the point of laughing. Qing Ye even reprimanded, Qing Yutong. Are you serious? Big sister, I was just joking, I will go and get something to wipe brother-in-law's saliva. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong ran down from the bed and took a towel to wipe Yi Hua's saliva. However, originally, it was only a puddle of dirt, but in the end, it became bigger and bigger after being rubbed by Qing Yutong. Brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, let's talk things out, don't hit me. Qing Yutong hurriedly begged for forgiveness. Yi Hua held onto his forehead. Why did I end up with a sister-in-law like this? Go and prepare water for me to take a bath. Yi Hua didn't want to speak anymore. Alright, Yutong didn't do it on purpose, don't be angry anymore. As the elder sister, Qing Ye still had to speak up for her younger sister. Yi Hua waved his hand. Who asked me, the supreme overlord, to have such a bitter life? I married 3 goddess-like women. However, you all might not know this, but these 3 women even drool when they sleep at night. Luckily, it was not the 3 of us who were drooling at the same time. If such a thing were to happen here, after Yi Hua finished bathing, under the help of his 3 wives, Yi Hua put on the emperor robe. I'm a bit hungry, I want to eat a pancake today, the kind with eggs and ham. Yi Hua muttered, then pushed open the door of the palace. Master, Daji, who was standing outside, said respectfully. Towards Daji's loyalty, Yi Hua was also helpless. He told her to go back to her room to sleep, and even if he beat her to death, she wouldn't go back. It was as if someone could pose a threat to the main body. What are we eating this morning? Yi Hua asked curiously. Master, Blood Devil made snake soup. Snake soup? Yi Hua was very puzzled. Why did they suddenly start making snake soup? Suddenly, Yi Hua smelled a whiff of fragrance, and it smelled just like the smell of barbecued meat. Qing Ye, did you smell something? Yi Hua asked curiously. Qing Ye nodded her head, and there seems to be the smell of barbecue, and it is rather fragrant. Who is barbecuing? Yi Hua immediately looked towards the city and saw a black thing lying on the street, and there were many people beside it. Without thinking too much, Yi Hua directly floated over. When Yi Hua saw the silver-winged serpent, his brows tightly wrinkled. When the people below saw a man who was dressed in an emperor's robe, they were first startled for a moment. Within Voidless Empire, who would be able to dress like this? That must be the emperor. Everyone kneeled down in joy and shouted, "My emperor! Hooray! Hooray! Long live!" Yi Hua lightly raised his hand, and everyone was lifted up by a formless power. Once again sensing the emperor's ability, the look of respect on Yi Hua's face became even heavier. Yi Hua floated towards the city gate tower, and when he saw the fire outside, his face immediately darkened. And Lai Gu, who was eating the snake meat, seemed to be able to sense it. You are finished. His honor is going to stew you later." Yi Hua poked onto Lai Gu's forehead. Lai Gu had a bitter look on his face as he hugged onto Yi Hua and sighed, "Yi Hua, save me. Apologize to his honor properly later." Yi Hua said with a slight smile. She looked at her flag master, who was still happily eating the snake meat. "Why am I so unlucky today? I got screwed by Qing Yutong in the morning. And the person that I called over to act cool is actually gone. I have already thought of how I will appear, and even my lines have already been thought of. I have already taken off half of my pants, and you show me this. Where are they? All of them are dead. If that is the case, why am I still acting cool? I took such a big detour, didn't I just want to have some fun? Start the meeting." Yi Hua shouted out angrily in his heart, then disappeared from the city gate tower. If Fan Jin and the others didn't leave, they probably wouldn't be able to leave anymore. Yi Hua would probably have to use them as practice. Following Yi Hua's shout, all of Yi Hua's subordinates received the order. All of them stopped what they were doing and hurried towards the palace hall for the meeting. Even Qin Ye and the others received the order. They didn't understand why Yi Hua would fly into such a big temper. Inside the palace hall, Yi Hua's face was gloomy as he looked at all of his subordinates. However, all of the people who did bad things lowered their heads and remained silent. They clearly felt that his honor was going to fly into a rage, and it was the kind of rage that couldn't be appeased. What happened outside? Who did it? Yi Hua shouted out. All of Yi Hua's subordinates didn't dare to make a sound. Lai Gu felt that he didn't do anything at all and only watched a show. Therefore, he shouldn't be counted in. All of you aren't saying anything, right? Seems like I have treated you all too well. As Yi Hua's wife, Qin Ye had to say something at this time. After all, as a husband and wife, one plays the bad cop and the other plays the good cop. Yi Hua, calm down, let them calm down, they were all frightened by you. Humph. Yi Hua snorted coldly. He was a little tsundere. Alright, you all can quickly speak. Yi Zizi suddenly took a step forward and said honestly, "Your Honor, Lai Gu told me to go and fight." Lai Gu? When did I, Lai Gu, tell you to go and fight? You were clearly the one who jumped down. You actually dare to say that to me? Yi Hua said gravely, Lai Gu. You actually hid it from me, do you really think that I don't dare to stew you? Your Honor, please spare me, I didn't tell Yi Zizi to go, she went by herself. Lai Gu hurriedly pleaded. When his honor flies into a rage, everyone has to cower. Yi Hua understood Yi Zizi very well, who else participated in it? All of you, stand out. Kai Yun and Brett both stood out. Yi Hua didn't feel good. Such a good opportunity to act cool, you all enjoy it yourselves, don't you know that this is an opportunity that I created? Don't you all know that a lot of brain cells have to die to create such an opportunity? The main point is, I even thought of the extravagance, but I didn't do it myself. Kai Yun hurriedly said, Your Honor, it was all Lai Gu. He was the one who told me to go, and he even told me not to tell your honor. Brett followed up and said, Kai Yun is right, Lai Gu said that this is a rare opportunity, and he wanted to do it himself. You all. It was clearly you all who wanted to play, I didn't even touch it. Your honor, I have been wronged. Lai Gu had the heart to cry. After you all finished acting cool, you all still want me to be the scapegoat, you all can't be so shameless. Then, who was the one who discovered it first? Dong Huang Baiji asked curiously. Everyone quietened down. Meanwhile, Lai Gu slowly raised his hand. Dong Huang Baiji smiled helplessly. Yi Hua shouted out angrily, Lai Gu, you actually dare to think of keeping it for yourself. End of this chapter. Chapter 876. Your honor. I'm just afraid of disturbing your rest. Let me, your subordinate, take care of these small fries. There is no need for your honor's sacred body to appear, lest your honor's hands get dirty. Bullshit. You just want to take everything for yourself. Your honor, it's not like that, we are all serving your honor. Lai Gu didn't even have the heart to die. If I am done acting cool, it would be worth it to be scolded, but I didn't do anything at all, and I am still being scolded. Yi Hua wouldn't really do anything to Lai Gu. After all, Lai Gu is my subordinate, I'll just scold him for him to remember. But, I still feel unhappy in my heart. When I was hugging my wife to sleep, those people came, and when I went out to take a look, there wasn't even a trace of them left. At this moment, Wei Chang stood out and said respectfully, Your honor, Lai Gu was only trying to share your honor's burden, and his intention was good. Furthermore, Lai Gu didn't know of your honor's plan, so it's pardonable. I hope that your honor can quell your anger. Yu Hua also pleaded for her man. Qingye smiled tenderly, Yi Hua, since Lai Gu knows his mistake, just let it go. Yi Hua snorted coldly, you can escape death, but you can't escape punishment. Hearing what his honor said, Lai Gu knew that he was going to be in trouble. But what else could he say? So today isn't a lucky day, but a calamity day. Yi Hua took a look at Yu Hua. I finally know how to punish Lai Gu. Yu Hua. Subordinate is here. Yu Hua said respectfully. Lai Gu's heart immediately sunk. What is his honor trying to do? It can't be that he is venting his anger on Yu Hua, right? Your honor, it's all my fault, don't punish Yu Hua. Lai Gu hurriedly said. Yi Hua ignored Lai Gu and said gravely, Yu Hua, for the next half a year, stay by Kai Yun's side. Lai Gu and Yu Hua went into a daze. Not only Lai Gu and Yu Hua, everyone else was stunned. This doesn't seem like a punishment, but to Lai Gu, this is simply a huge punishment. On the other hand, Kai Yun said happily, Thank you, your honor. Yu Hua had a helpless look on her face. This move of his honor is truly ruthless. Lai Gu turned his head and pondered. It's all right. In any case, I'm already in Voidless Empire. What's there to be afraid of not being able to see Yu Hua? Understood, Yu Hua said respectfully. Yi Hua nodded his head and looked at Lai Gu. Do I still not know what you are thinking about? Do you think that it is that easy? Ha! You are looking down on me too much. Yi Zizi. Open clouds. Brett. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. The three of them stood up, bowed and said, Your subordinates are here. You guys attacked without my orders, messing up my plans. Tell me, how are you going to settle this? Yi Zizi's big eyes turned, then cupped his hands and said, Your honor, Zizi is willing to create a new opportunity for your honor. Yi Zizi has become smarter, huh? Yi Zizi has become smarter. Yi Zizi just wanted to go out and play, so she seized this opportunity. Alright, the three of you. Just create another chance for me. If I can't do it, then don't come back. As for the others, stay back and guard Voidless Empire. Meeting adjourned. Yihua waved his hand, and his entire person disappeared from the throne. Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji shook their heads. You're already a big boss, yet you're still acting so childish. Didn't I just tell you not to act cool? You're already taking out your anger on your subordinates. I reckon that later on, you're going to take out your anger on your wife. After Qingye and Dong Huangbaiji left, Qing Yutong did not leave. Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes towards Yizizi, and Yizizi's eyebrows twitched in response. However, at this moment, Lai Gu looked as if he was struck by lightning, and he stood on the spot stupidly. For his honor to let Yuhua stay by Kai Yun's side, didn't that mean that wherever Kai Yun went, Yuhua would go? Now that Kai Yun was going to head out, Moonlight would definitely have to follow him. Moreover, Kai Yun had just said that the others would all stay behind to guard the Voidless Empire. Wasn't this building for him? Other than Lai Gu being depressed, Brett was also very depressed. If I had known that such a thing would happen, I wouldn't have participated in it. Right now, I have to separate from absolute heaven. His honor's temper is still as bad as before. Yizizi suddenly held onto Kai Yun's shoulder. Let's form a group and go stir up some trouble, then let Voidless Empire be the scapegoat. Wah, good idea, it will definitely be fun. Kai Yun was also someone who loved to have fun, and the two belonged to the category of people who shared the same rotten tastes. Qing Yutong hurriedly walked over. How can I miss out on such a fun thing? Join the group. Agree to join the group. Yizizi grinned. Meanwhile, Kai Yun's smile was very naughty. Qing Yutong said towards Brett, join the group. What else could Brett say? Only by working together will we be able to quickly finish our task and return. Join the group. Yizizi choked. This old woman. Agreed. Yizizi said helplessly. Kai Yun was already impatient, and he said towards Yuhua, let's go, we have to quickly complete his honor's mission. Yuhua was helpless as she pulled Lai Gu up, then carried Lai Gu into her embrace and consoled him lightly. This scene caused all of Lai Gu's subordinates to be a little stupefied. It is very common for a man to carry a woman, but this is the first time I have seen a woman carrying a man. I immediately took a photo of this scene, so that I can tease Lai Gu in the future. Being hugged by your wife like this, where did your manliness go? Take good care of yourself. After I finish my task, I will come back and accompany you. Yuhua said lightly as she pinched onto Lai Gu's nose. It's all my fault. Lai Gu sighed lightly. Acting cool, it's all good now. In the future, I won't act cool anymore. If there's anything, I will immediately report it to his honor without any delay. Yizizi and Kai Yun said at the same time, no, you didn't do anything wrong, well done, Lai Gu, all of the benefits were taken away by you too, and I, Lai Gu. Fortunately, I still have 3 wives. I am really glad that I found a lot of wives back then, if not, I would have to masturbate to pass the time. Qing Yutong was already rubbing her palms together as she asked lightly, then, when are we leaving? Now. Yizizi and Kai Yun said at the same time. Brett said faintly, now, where are we going, do you have a plan? Yizizi snorted, when did we need a plan when we do things? What is a plan? Is it edible? What Yizizi said is very right. Kai Yun agreed with what Yizizi said. What plan do we need? We can just go wherever we want. Yuhua said tenderly, Flag Master, we need a good plan, how about we discuss about it today, and then we will leave tomorrow. We still have to wait until tomorrow, don't, Kai Yun was very obedient to Yuhua's words, and only Yuhua was able to move him. Qing Yutong, what are you standing there for, come back. Qing Ye could be seen suddenly appearing and shouting towards Qing Yutong. Qing Yutong was depressed. If I had left just now, there wouldn't be any problems, but now, everything is fine. End of chapter. Chapter 877. Qing Yutong said softly, then, let's gather tomorrow morning. You guys wait for me, remember. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong ran towards Qing Ye. Qing Ye knew what Qing Yutong was going to do. Qing Yutong definitely wanted to go out with Yi Zizi and the others to cause trouble. If Yehua were to find out about this, his butt would definitely be smacked badly. Yi Zizi and Kai Yun were very helpless. They could only wait until tomorrow before leaving. But at least, they could go out now. In a high-class restaurant in the Voidless Empire, there sat a well-dressed man. His eyes were like torches, and his face was exceptionally stylish, as though it was the work of the gods. However, this man was actually holding onto a cup of scarlet red wine in his hand. If someone who knew what was good was here, they would definitely exclaim in shock. Isn't this a goblet? Isn't that red wine inside? The man looked below. Countless people were currently fighting over the snake meat to eat, but the man did not. He looked towards the palace and revealed excitement in his eyes as he muttered, "It has been 5 years. A whole 5 years. I finally found it." The man drank the cup of red wine fiercely, appearing to be exceptionally excited. He was called Yang Haotian. Back then, Yehua and Yi Zizi came here to fight, and after the fight, they went back. However, they caused Yang Haotian to suffer. Yang Haotian still remembered that day, when his red packet system gave him a notification, he immediately ran towards the destination. In the end, he did not even see a shadow, and the main mission of the red packet system froze from that day onwards. Furthermore, it froze for 5 years. I relied on doing side missions, and now, I am already a dozun. If I could complete the main mission, I would at least be an overlord. Fortunately, a few months ago, his main mission finally responded. He rushed from the south to the north, the long journey even made him dizzy. After a period of observation, I have already confirmed it. The target is in the palace, a girl with 2 ponytails, and my red packet is stuck on her butt. As long as I remove the red packet on her butt, my mission will be completed. But from the looks of it now, that girl should be very strong. Not only that girl, everyone in the palace should be very strong, causing me to not make a move for a long time. I have been thinking about how to smoothly steal that girl's red packet, and the red packet is stuck on her butt. This red packet system is really a scam. But no matter what, he had to try tonight. At most, he could exchange for some items in the system, sneak in, and secretly remove the red packet before running away. No one would have guessed that it would happen without anyone noticing. Thinking of this, Yang Haotian made a decision. He could not continue waiting like this. Otherwise, his system would be crippled. Because he had completed all the side quests, if he didn't start the main quest, he wouldn't even be able to complete the side quests. Then his system would be a piece of scrap metal. That's why I must remove that little girl's butt. Oh, that's not it, it was a red packet on his buttocks. Even if he had to sacrifice his life, he would do it. Yang Haotian opened the system interface and looked at the remaining point certificates. He began to think about what kind of equipment he should buy in order to sneak in. However, he only had 7 points left. Yang Haotian propped himself up on the table and touched his chin. There was a little stubble on his chin. He had been too tired these few days. He didn't have that kind of invisibility magic treasure, so the inside of the palace was a tiger's den. If he was not careful, he would fall inside tonight. 7 point certificates, what can I buy with this amount of point certificates? I can't even afford to buy a single hair. Talking about sneaking into a scary place like the palace is simply wishful thinking. Suddenly, a bottle of spray appeared in the system interface. It was called deodorant, it only cost 5 points. Yang Haotian immediately opened the system interface and discovered that this deodorant seemed to be a little useful, it was able to get rid of any abnormal smell. It seems like other than this, I can't afford to buy anything else. After pondering for a while, Yang Haotian already made a decision. I'm going to treat a dead horse as a living horse. He directly used 5 point certificates to buy this bottle of deodorant. Then, he went to buy some tools and prepared for the operation at night. As the night approached, Yang Haoyan felt a little restless. All the tools were already prepared. Now, he just had to wait for midnight. However, this period of time was the hardest to bear. Yang Haoyan basically just walked back and forth. Right now, even though he was a dozun, he was still trembling from nervousness. Because the inside of the palace was simply an abyss, and I am going to sneak in tonight and steal the red packet. This is simply a crazy idea. Could it be that I don't have any other choice? There doesn't seem to be any other choice. As the night approached, Wushu Empire had already entered into silence, and the palace was the same as well. Right now, Yang Haoyan was standing outside the walls of the palace with a roll of things in his hand. He was sneakily looking left and right, and with just a look, one could tell that he was here to be a thief. With a flip of his body, Yang Haoyan entered into the palace. Just now, I nearly peed in my pants from fright. Luckily, I managed to enter. After entering the palace, Yang Haoyan became even more nervous, fearing that there would be patrols coming over. However, here came the problem. This palace was not just an ordinary big palace, and the exact location of the palace was still unknown. Seems like I can only slowly explore it. It would be best if I get lucky tonight. If I don't get lucky, then I would be dead. In actuality, there were very few patrols in the palace, because there was basically no need for them. However, Yang Haoyan couldn't use his cultivation technique because he would be discovered. If he were to be discovered, then he would really be done for, and not just faking it. Suddenly, Yang Haoyan saw an unusual living being and got a huge shock. He hurriedly opened the treasure in his hand, then stuck his entire body onto the wall and raised both of his hands. A wallpaper that was exactly the same as the wall could be seen. The wallpaper stuck onto the wall and blended in very well. This was Yang Haoyan's secret weapon. No choice, I am really too poor, and I can't think of any other way. I can only draw according to the walls of the palace, then spray deodorant on it. This is already the cheapest method. Hearing the light footsteps, Yang Haoyan was currently trembling with fear. He tried his best to remain calm and not let the wallpaper tremble. However, why is the sound of the footsteps so strange? It seems to have 4 legs. It is indeed 4 legs, the husky Yun Lang. Yun Lang could be seen walking with cheerful steps. Upon thinking about how he was going to go out with his master to have fun tomorrow, he felt bursts of excitement, causing him to be unable to fall asleep right now. What is this smell? Why is it so smelly? Yun Lang sniffed. Why does it feel like there is a stench, such a pungent stench? Yun Lang gradually walked towards Yang Haoyan, and this caused Yang Haoyan's heart to almost jump out. Please don't find me, zzzzzzz. End of this chapter. Chapter 878. A strange sound rang out, and Yang Haoyan smelled a foul smell. It was not a normal kind of pungent smell, and it even splattered onto his feet. Damn it, it's a dog. Yun Lang was indeed peeing, and after peeing, he even shook his body, and the expression on his face was really very comfortable. After he was done, Yun Lang gradually walked away. Yang Haoyan let out a breath. This deodorant is really quite effective, just that my feet. What kind of dog is this? Why is the smell so strong, too pungent? Just as Yang Haoyan was preparing to move, he suddenly heard a conversation. He immediately pulled his feet up again and endured the pungent smell. Little brother, big brother didn't treat you badly tonight, right? Did you drink to your heart's content? Your mood is much better now, right? The people who came were precisely LV Liang and Yi Hong. Recently, Yi Hong's mood was a bit down. As for why he was down, it was because until now, he still hasn't gotten Zi Shan pregnant. Every time he saw Zi Shan's resentful gaze, Yi Hong would feel that he was sick, and that he needed to go to the male disease center to take a look. Burp, big brother, do you think that there's something wrong with me? Yi Hong asked drunkenly while holding on to LV Liang. LV Liang consoled, little brother, just take it easy, which man doesn't have some sickness? I feel that I have prostate cancer. Yang Haotian heard it, they actually know about prostate cancer, damn it. How is this possible? Big brother, I don't even dare to go back now, I feel that I have really let Zishan down, even if she wants a child, I can't give it to her. Yi Hong sighed helplessly, as a man, I can't even satisfy such a small request of a woman, I feel guilty in my heart. LV Liang patted on the shoulder of his little brother and said carefully, don't have such thoughts, maybe you are giving yourself too much pressure, causing the little tadpole to not be vigorous. Look at those two women at home, they are all letting nature take its course. Besides, it's not like you are the only one, look at Dou Fusher, isn't he still the same after so many years? There's also Uncle Wei and Lai Gu, none of them got pregnant. How can a man get pregnant, big brother, you must be mistaken. I am talking about their wives, burp. I want to pee. Big brother, I want to pee too, why does it feel so pungent? Yun Lang definitely peed everywhere. Yi Hong muttered. Come, let's pee together, cover up Yun Lang's pungent smell. Yang Haotian was speechless. Do you guys have to be so perverted, competing with a dog? Damn it, I still have the red envelope system. How could I end up like this? After being peed on by a dog, I was peed on by a human. Can't you just pick the other side? Why are you fighting with a dog? How can there be such a person? Listening to the approaching footsteps, Yang Haotian's face darkened. He could even imagine these two guys taking out their guns. He shot a stream of golden liquid at himself. F***CK. I, Yang Haotian, am the Red Envelope Emperor, and I've been peed on twice today. This was simply a humiliation. He had been humiliated twice. Shameless. God, do they have to draw circles when they pee? Are you guys painting? Big brother, are my eyes playing tricks on me? The color of the wall seems to be fading. Yi Hong rubbed his eyes and felt that the red paint on the wall was a little blurry. Let me see, haha, seems like we drank too much. LV Shu laughed drunkenly. Yi Hong also grinned. The two of them peed for a full minute. Yang Haotian had endured the longest minute of his life. In the future, I will never do such a thing again. After peeing, the two brothers walked away while holding onto each other's shoulders. After the two left, Yang Haotian immediately threw away the drawing paper in his hand. This is so disgusting. Other than human pee, there is also dog pee. With such a smell mixed together, it simply makes me want to vomit. However, just as Yang Haotian was ridiculing, a voice suddenly rang out beside his ear. Little brother, I'll give you the money. You lose. LV Shu laughed foolishly. Yi Hong was helpless as he took out a few gold coins and said, this is all I have, all of them are being controlled by Zishan. Forget it, who asked us to be brothers? Big brother will help you keep the rest of the money. LV Shu took away all of the gold coins, not leaving a single one behind. Yang Haotian just looked at the two of them. They actually discovered me. How is this possible? At this time, Yun Lang also walked back. That arrogant gaze of his seemed to be saying, little brat, you still want to trick me with such insignificant tricks? Look at my sharp gaze, that is the legend of hungry wolves, do you know what hungry wolves are? That kind of very hungry wolf, I reckon that you have never seen those fierce eyes of a hungry wolf before, right? Looking at the two people and one dog, Yang Haotian felt that he had been tricked, and a monstrous rage gathered within his mind. I am the Emperor. As the owner of the red packet system, when have I ever suffered such humiliation before? This is simply humiliation. He seems to be very angry. Yi Hong said in a low voice. LV Shu nodded her head and said in a low voice, if you were peed on twice, you would also be this angry. What you said seems to be very reasonable. Yang Haotian did not retreat, instead, he advanced towards the green and red brothers. He discovered that the way they dressed up was very strange, why does it seem a bit like the non-mainstream? But when he took a closer look, it doesn't seem that way anymore. Just like that green hair, why does he look like a clown? It is that clown from Batman, the very handsome one, and his hairstyle is exactly the same. As for that red hair, I won't comment anymore. But right now, I, Yang Haotian, am going to seek justice for myself. This is the dignity of a man, therefore, I have to get back my face. Today, I will let them experience the power of me, the Red Packet Emperor. I will let you all know what is called high-end operation. Plop. Yang Haotian directly kneeled down and shouted out, "Big brother, please spare me." LV Shu, Yi Hong, even Ha had a stupefied look on his face. Just a moment ago, the two of them were so imposing, and it was as if they were going to start a fight at any moment of disagreement. But in the end, the moment they walked over, the two of them actually kneeled down. I have never seen such an operation before. The Green and Red brothers were simply flabbergasted from head to toe. "Big brother, what do we do?" Just a moment ago, Yi Hong was prepared to fight, but in the end, this fellow directly kneeled down. Even LV Shu was a bit unable to withstand it. This kneel was simply world-shaking. The atmosphere just a moment ago was so heavy, and it was as if both of them were going to perish together. But in the end, after this kneel, the atmosphere that was created instantly disappeared. What is this? Can you not be more careful? Can you not operate it like this? It is full of tricks. Big brother, I didn't sneak in on purpose, I really have an urgent matter to attend to. You all have to believe me, I also have no other choice. Yang Haotian began to plead painfully. After observing, he discovered that none of the people here could be provoked, and fighting with them was completely the same as seeking death. In the new year, I wish everyone to become rich, lose weight, and have a lot of girlfriends. End of this chapter. Chapter 879. Thus, after meeting someone, I can only offer my knees and let them know how deep my sincerity is. What urgent matter do you have? Don't you know that this is the palace? Trespassing is a crime punishable by death. Yi Hong said gravely. This is the first man who dared to trespass into the palace. I really don't know if this is courage or stupidity. This morning, millions of people died at the city gate, and he still dares to trespass into the palace. Could it be that there really is an urgent matter? Yang Haotian scolded in his heart. I already offered my knees, what else do you want? Let me go. Big brother, I really have something to do, if not why would I trespass into the palace? What urgent matter, tell us. LV Yang asked curiously. Yang Haotian pursed his lips, thinking about whether he should tell the truth or not. Seeing that Yang Haotian was thinking, LV Yang said coldly, what kind of lie are you thinking? Then let me tell you, your head will be hung on the city gate tower and exposed to the sun for 3 days and 3 nights. It's frozen. Yang Haotian said softly. Big brother, it's frozen, not exposed to the sun. Don't mind these details, Big brother is just describing it. After speaking, LV Yang shouted towards Yang Haotian, quickly speak. If not, I will kill you. Big brother, I will speak. Yang Haotian didn't care so much anymore, because entering the palace means death, I might as well take a gamble. Who knows, a bicycle might turn into a motorcycle. Yang Haotian said weakly, actually. I dropped something in the palace. LV Liang and Yi Hong revealed a sinister smile, seems like you want to be exposed. It's true, I didn't lie to you. Then, tell us, what did you drop? LV Liang asked curiously. Yang Haotian took a deep breath, it's a red packet. Red packet? LV Liang and Yi Hong were both stupefied, this is the first time they met someone who came to die for a red packet. Aren't you a little too weird? Then, where is your red packet? Yi Hong asked curiously. It's on a little girl with 2 ponytails. Hearing this, LV Liang and Yi Hong immediately knew who it was. So it was Yi Zizi who snatched someone else's red packet, and now, that person is coming to look for her. This is hard to say. His honor is using a soft policy. If Yi Zizi really snatched someone else's red packet, the red packet will have to be returned. How did your red envelope get stolen? LV Shu still wanted to know. Big brother, my red packet flew randomly. It just happened to stick on that little girl's butt. What? On the buttocks? LV Liang and Yi Heng exclaimed. Yi Zizi's butt is simply a devil's butt. I reckon that only his honor would dare to spank Yi Zizi's butt, other people shouldn't even think about it. This man actually wants to steal the red packet from Yi Zizi's butt. Will he succeed or not? It seemed like something fun was about to happen. Maybe I should inform Uncle Wei first. It seemed like it was necessary. Recently, everyone was quite bored, and it just so happened that there was a bold one. He wanted to touch Yi Zizi's butt. Heavens, he actually had such a terrifying idea. Uncle Wei, there's a situation. LV Liang hurriedly shouted. Wei Chang was currently hugging on to Tang Wei to sleep. The pitiful Tang Wei had not even been touched by Wei Chang till now. Tang Wei felt that Uncle Wei was actually not a man. What's the situation? There's an intruder. Just kill him directly, why are you calling me? Wei Chang said confusedly. But, he has a terrifying idea. Wei Chang opened his eyes, then sat up and asked, could it be that he wants to assassinate his honor? It's even more terrifying than that. LV Liang said gravely. Then what is it? He wants to touch Yi Zizi's butt. Wei Chang, good fellow, his guts are too big. If Yang Haotian knew what they were talking about, he would definitely shout out that he was wronged. When did I say that I want to touch someone else's butt? I am obviously just trying to steal a red packet, it's not what you all think. Wei Chang immediately got up from the bed. He found it hard to believe that someone sneaked into the palace just to touch Yi Zizi's butt. This is too interesting, could it be that he is Yi Zizi's pursuer? His courage is commendable. We have to properly check on him. Wei Chang immediately contacted everyone, and after LV Liang and Yi Heng received the order, an evil smile appeared on their faces. Yang Haotian immediately felt that something was wrong. I can spare you, and you can even continue to look for red packets, but, you have to fight with one of us. LV Liang said seriously. Yang Haotian's heart sunk to the bottom, I can't even win against them, how am I supposed to fight with them? Then, does he count? Yang Haotian pointed at Yun Lang and said. In front of me, I guess. LV Liang sighed. Are you going to choose a dog as your opponent? Please don't choose him. Look at Yun Lang, right now, he is showing an expression of, I am very cute, I am very stupid, quickly come and choose me. However, Yang Haotian immediately pointed at Yun Lang and said, I choose him. LV Liang and Yi Heng immediately covered their faces. Yun Lang's strength is above theirs, and you idiot actually chose the strongest one. Yun Lang immediately licked his lips, then roared towards the sky. Woo no matter what, Yang Haotian was a dozun. Although he had just reached rank 1, he was still a well-known figure. LV Liang and Yi Heng could be seen retreating to one side, while Yang Haotian stood up and took out his weapon. This was a harpoon. Sea Slayer Long Li. The harpoon was golden in color, with a 3-pronged head, and emitted a surging aura. Seems like it was just a prehistoric godly item. This weapon is not bad, it looks like Maserati's logo. Yi Heng, who was at the side, said in a low voice. You don't say, it really does look like it. LV Liang also agreed. Yang Haotian raised the beheading sea dragon glass in his hand and suddenly stabbed it into the ground. The blue stone on the ground immediately cracked, and the cracks spread to the surroundings. LV Liang immediately shouted, destroying the palace, you are finished. Yang Haotian had originally created quite an imposing manner, but after saying those words, his imposing manner completely disappeared. He even put his hands together and said, "Big brother, I didn't do it on purpose just now, it's just a habit. Remember to pay up." Yi Hong warned. Yang Haotian felt helpless in his heart. These people are too stingy, do I have to pay up even for this? There is nothing to pay attention to in a 1v1 duel. Yang Haotian once again waved the beheading sea dragon glass in his hand, and a gust of astral wind blew over, causing people to be terrified. Looking at Lvu Yang and Yi Hong, they were both shivering from this gust of cold wind. Yun Lang squatted on the ground, picking his ears from time to time. He really did not care about Yang Haotian at all. Yang Haotian did not hold back anymore. Today, he must kill this silly husky. He was going to go all out for the red packet. At most, he would be labeled as inhumane by the Animal Association. Go to hell, silly husky. Yang Haotian mercilessly attacked Yun Lang with the beheading sea dragon glass in his hand. What is Yun Lang? He is a silly husky. What does a silly husky do? He demolishes houses. Look at this silly husky's eyes, don't you have to be more careful when you go out? Chapter 880. Although Yun Lang didn't want to demolish the house, he could demolish other things and achieve his goal. Yun Lang slowly stood up and looked at Yang Haotian who was attacking him, as well as the shiny sea-slaying dragon glass. Yun Lang opened his mouth and bit onto the sea-slaying dragon glass. This caused Yang Haotian to be stupefied. His primordial godly item was actually bitten by a dog. How was this possible? This weapon was exchanged from the system and used 100,000 points, that was a very terrifying number. He saved for a long time to exchange for it. Let go. Yang Haotian couldn't help but shout. This dog actually didn't let go and bit it tightly. How was this possible? What were his teeth and mouth made of? Why were they so powerful? Yun Lang let out a low growl and bit it tightly without letting go. Yang Haotian really couldn't do anything, he couldn't pull it out, the other party's strength was obviously greater than his. It's over, it's over. Right at that moment, Yun Lang's body emitted a terrifying aura, scaring Yang Haotian so much that he didn't even want to keep his weapon and directly distanced himself. Yang Haotian looked at Yun Lang in shock. Is this really a dog? Yun Lang clearly revealed a smile, he actually wanted to touch his masters but, who gave him the courage to do that? Kacha! The sea-slaying dragon glass let out a crisp sound. Yang Haotian was stupefied. This husky actually broke his own weapon with his teeth. How was that possible? Are his teeth a primordial godly item, to be able to easily bite off a primordial godly item? Yang Haotian just watched as Yun Lang chewed, the sea-slaying dragon glass was slowly swallowed into Yun Lang's stomach. It didn't even leave any scraps for him. That was 100,000 points, even if it was demolishing the house, it shouldn't be like this, my god, I'm really regretting choosing this dog. It even swallowed a primordial godly item. Burp. Yun Lang let out a satisfied burp, indicating that he was full. Lvu Yang saw that it was about time, anyways this fellow couldn't beat anyone. Alright, you can go. Lvu Yang said. Yang Haotian's first feeling was that it was fake, when he turned around, he would definitely launch a sneak attack. Brother, my competition isn't over yet. It's not appropriate to end it like this. Yang Haotian was heartbroken, but as long as he could get a red packet, a harpoon was worth it. Hurry up and leave. Don't make me change my mind. Goodbye, big brother. After saying that, Yang Haotian turned into a flash of lightning and disappeared. His speed was as fast as a wife giving birth at home. Yi Hong laughed. Damn, this guy runs really fast. Who's next? It seems to be Mage Brother. He is really unlucky. Yi Hong shook her head, then planned to go home with LV Tao. Yang Haotian did not know how long he had been running. Suddenly, he saw a black shadow in front of him and immediately braked. It was a black figure holding a sickle and wearing a black robe. Yang Haotian took a deep breath as if he was waiting for him. When Death Mage raised his head, Yang Haotian was startled. This was an undead. There is actually an undead in Wushu Empire. How is this possible? Yang Haotian didn't have any aversion towards other races. After being slightly shocked, he felt relieved. A group of monsters was originally living in the palace, and an undead was nothing much. Even if a legendary race were to appear, it would also be normal. With no other choice, Yang Haotian could only take out an ancient godly equipment. It was better than nothing. Death Mage was also sizing up Yang Haotian, to see just who dares to touch a tiger's butt. Right now, the person is standing beside me, but why do I feel that he seems to be very weak? To want to touch Zizi's, but with that body of his, he is overestimating himself. Come. Yang Haotian pointed his sword at Death Mage. And Death Mage naturally wouldn't use magic. As a mage, the heart of close combat cannot be abandoned. Therefore, Death Mage waved the sickle in his hand and looked at Yang Haotian. Yang Haotian suddenly placed his left hand on his right wrist. If I want to win against Death Mage, I have to use my trump card. Bloom. Giant leaf. The long sword in Yang Haotian's hand could be seen emitting a ray of light, and in an instant, it turned into a green leaf. However, don't be fooled by this, the giant leaf is not a joke. Die. Yang Haotian waved the gigantic leaf in his hand and slammed it towards Death Mage. A powerful aura suppressed Death Mage. What kind of martial skill could Death Mage have? He immediately raised the death scythe in his hand. Boom! The gigantic leaf slammed onto the death scythe. However, at this moment, Death Mage suddenly disappeared. Yang Haotian's heart sank as a sense of danger assaulted him. Without any hesitation, he threw the giant leaf behind him. A terrifying astral wind was formed and instantly smashed the surrounding walls. A loud noise suddenly rang out in the imperial palace. Outside of Yi Hua's sleeping palace, Daji's expression sank. She used a barrier to protect herself so as to not disturb her master's rest. Master was tired just now. My heart really aches for Master. Death Mage stood at the side and looked at the wall that was knocked down. Jijiji Royal Translator, you actually destroyed public facilities. You're really bold. Yang Haotian didn't care so much. He waved his right hand again. This time, it was like a palm leaf fan. Death Mage raised the scythe in his hand, then ruthlessly swung it down. A crescent-shaped blade aura attacked towards Yang Haotian. Yang Haotian rolled and dodged. The saber chi destroyed a part of the palace in an instant, and a rumbling sound rang out. Death Mage was stunned. Yang Haotian went into a daze for a moment, then pointed at Death Mage and laughed out loud, "You're done for, destroying the imperial palace." Just as he finished speaking, Yang Haotian felt something was wrong. This guy was releasing his killing intent. It was all his fault for talking too much. Why did he have to laugh at it? Death Mage raised his death scythe and slashed towards Yang Haotian. Yang Haotian was not afraid at all, because he discovered a problem. This Death Mage is so weak, I can completely block him. Death Mage's close combat skills were not very strong to begin with. Back then, he was even killed by Xiao Yi. And the current Yang Haotian was much stronger than Xiao Yi, so it was very easy for him to fight against Death Mage. Although it was easy, the surrounding walls and other things were all destroyed. If Yi Hua were to see his imperial palace becoming like this, would he become the second emperor to die from anger? At the very least, when Yi Hua sees it tomorrow morning, he will definitely fly into a rage. None of the people who participated tonight will be spared. Right now, Yang Haotian was getting more and more relaxed, causing Death Mage to be unhappy. I can only fight to a draw in close combat, I don't want to play anymore. A lightning could be seen shooting out from Death Mage's bony finger. This sudden move caused Yang Haotian to be unable to react, and his entire body was electrocuted. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ah, ah, Yang Haotian's entire body was trembling, and his entire body was filled with electric current. Yang Haotian's bones could even be seen, and his hair was gradually becoming taller and taller, and his clothes were starting to emit smoke. Chapter 881. Omega 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 choking with sobs. Novel. He was electrocuted for a full minute. Yang Haotian spat out a mouthful of black smoke. His face was dirty and he had an afro. His clothes were also emitting green smoke. You're cheating. Yang Haotian cursed shamelessly. They were clearly fighting well, but he actually used such a despicable move. Although Yang Haotian was cursing, he was still shocked. That bolt of lightning was terrifying. Fortunately, he was wearing magic resistance equipment today. Otherwise, he would have been seriously injured. This undead was probably going easy on them. Death Mage did not want to waste any more time and immediately disappeared from where he was standing. I have played enough, I don't want to kill him. Looking at Death Mage leaving just like that, Yang Haotian felt very uncomfortable, as if he was being teased by someone. But for the red packet, it was worth it even if she was humiliated by a man. Yang Haotian calmed himself down and did not run out of the palace. No matter what, he had to get the red envelope today. If I don't take the red envelope, I would rather die. It had to be said that Yang Haotian was indeed amazing. He dared to barge into such a terrifying place alone. However, this group of people was also leading the way. They were very curious about Yizizi's reaction. Of course, they were also very curious about how Yang Haotian had touched Yizizi's butt. That scene should be very exciting. As Yang Haotian continued forward, he suddenly saw two figures. However, these two figures were a little strange. Cough cough cough. Yang Haotian couldn't help but cough a few times. You guys are too hasty in doing this. Beside the wall, a beautiful figure was kissing a man in a domineering manner. Yang Haotian, who was electrocuted inside and out, felt embarrassed. These two people were naturally Do Fusher and Soul departing. Drifting Soul was still as infatuated with Do Fusher as always. After waiting for a long time, he still did not see Do Fusher. Fortunately, they started kissing. Honey, she's here. Don't mind him. Kiss me again. Aya, it's so embarrassing to have an outsider here. I'll let you kiss me all you want when we get back. Alright then, hurry up. Got it. Drifting Soul released Do Fusher and stood at the side to watch the battle, while Do Fusher slowly walked towards Yang Haotian. When he saw Yang Haotian's appearance, Do Fusher was stunned for a moment before he started laughing. The Green and Red brothers were already non-mainstream enough, but this person was simply a true non-mainstream. That afro was simply a symbol. The corner of Yang Haotian's mouth twitched slightly. It was such a serious scene, but he was laughing so hard that he was convulsing. It was really infuriating. I'm sorry, your appearance is too shocking. It's like you've been electrocuted. Yes, I was electrocuted just now. I poked your sore spot. Cut the crap, let's get started. Yang Haotian said in a deep voice. Today, he had to overcome all the obstacles and then take away the red envelope that belonged to him. Wait a minute, fighting is actually boring. Why don't we play something else? What are we playing? Yang Haotian asked curiously. Do Fusher took out a mysterious item and said with a smile, Landlord. Yang Haotian was shocked. They actually knew how to fight the landlord. How could it be? Could it be that they were from the same hometown? Do you dare to play? All right. Wife, come here quickly. We need one more. Hubby, I'm coming. The three of them sat on the ground, and Floating Do started shuffling the cards. He smiled and said, the winner can use this to hit the opponent. After saying that, Do Fusher took out a hammer, on which were written, 100000T, but looking at the shape of the hammer, it looked like a balloon. Yang Haoyan thought to himself, you guys are too much of a joke. I'll play with you guys then. Back in the day, Yang Haoyan, was an expert in fighting the landlord. After shuffling the cards, the three of them started playing. However, Yang Haoyan finally knew what fighting the landlord was. This was the shameless fighting the landlord. Damn, how could it end like this in fighting the landlord? 3 can beat 2 kings. Who are you kidding? How dare you say it's 3-2? There was actually no way to refute it. Ha, I won. As the host, Drifting Soul clapped happily. Yang Haoyan said in a deep voice, I will definitely win the next round. Drifting Soul held his breath and picked up the 100,000 T black hammer at the side. Hubby. Dou Fusher pouted and Drifting Soul kissed him sweetly. This was a good show of affection. Yang Haoyan clenched his fists tightly. Come on. Drifting Soul raised the hammer with a sinister smile. I'm coming, be careful. Yang Haoyan said disdainfully, if I make a sound, I'll be your grandson. Ah. Just as he finished speaking, Yang Haoyan couldn't help but make a sound and his whole body flew out. If one looked down from the palace, they would see something playing through the wall. Wife, you're too ruthless. Dou Fusher shivered. Who told him to be so arrogant? Drifting Soul snorted. Not even I'll beat you until you scream. Not long after, Yang Haoyan walked over. His clothes were tattered like a few rags hanging on his body. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, but it wasn't a big deal. For a Dozun, this little injury was nothing. But this was a psychological injury. Yang Haoyan felt like dying. Grandson, you're back so soon. Let's continue. Drifting Soul said happily. Yang Haoyan felt embarrassed. He had just finished speaking and he was slapped in the face. But this time, Yang Haoyan, will not lose. I've already figured out the rules. Yang Haoyan was still too young. When his sky explosion was destroyed by 119, his whole body seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Is this F***king fight the landlord? Was this rule invented by you all? No, this is a new type of fight the landlord that His Honor invented, ordinary people will not be able to understand it. In short, in this type of fight the landlord, whoever is more powerful will have the final say. Husband. Dou Fusher pouted his mouth helplessly, and then Drifting Soul kissed him. Meanwhile, Yang Haoyan who was at the side suddenly felt very envious of this man. Seeing that the woman raised the hammer again, Yang Haoyan hurriedly said, female comrade, be gentler. Alright. This time, Drifting Soul picked up the hammer and slammed it down. Bang! Yang Haoyan's entire body was smashed onto the ground. The scene was simply too horrible to look at. Yang Haoyan wanted to cry but had no tears. If only I could be smashed to death. The problem is, I have the body of a Dozun, how is it possible for me to be smashed to death? I was actually humiliated by a woman, I'm so angry. Stop pretending and continue. Drifting Soul snorted. I am very clear that nothing will happen to Yang Haoyan. Yang Haoyan immediately sat up, oh. This sound seems so helpless. This is a kind of abandonment towards life. Since I am unable to resist, then I'll just accept it. A trace of blood flowed out from Yang Haoyan's nose, and Yang Haoyan himself didn't know about it. Dou Fusher pointed at his nose and told Yang Haoyan that his nose is bleeding. Yang Haoyan rubbed his nose. This is so embarrassing. In the next half an hour, Yang Haoyan suffered from physical and mental devastation. Baidu search 881 Chinese website yen. Yen. Chapter 882. When he saw the two demons leave, Yang Haoyan wanted to laugh out loud. He would never play landlord again. If he played again, he would chop off his hands. At this moment, Yang Haoyan was already in an extremely sorry state. His afro was covered in dust, and his cloth-like robe was undoubtedly showing off his lifestyle. How casual, how sloppy. Looking at the poker cards on the ground, Yang Haoyan stepped on them. Pa pa pa. He had no choice but to bully the poker cards. F***ck. Damn landlord. I will never play cards again. You bunch of bullies. If it wasn't for the red packet, I wouldn't have suffered such humiliation. I can use 119 for a king bomb. If I use sky bomb, you guys can still call 911. Why don't you call 110? F***ck. I have never seen such a bully. These animals, I hate you. Yang Haoyan stomped on the ground and created a huge pit. Only then did he vent his anger. Otherwise, it would be too uncomfortable. Heaving a sigh of relief, Yang Haoyan looked at the night sky and decided to move forward. Since he was already so humiliated, it didn't matter. Suddenly, Yang Haoyan stopped in his tracks. A cold wind blew in the darkness. A sense of danger caused Yang Haoyan to take out his weapon and look around vigilantly. Who is it? Come out. Yang Haoyan shouted. I didn't expect you to be able to sense it. Interesting. A voice sounded in the air. It was White Bones. At this moment, Yang Haoyan's face was solemn. His mind was frantically thinking. What the hell was this? An invisibility technique? But why couldn't he sense any aura? Could it be another type of invisibility technique? That shouldn't be the case. Even if it was invisibility, there would be flaws. I know what you are thinking. Don't think too much. It's useless. White Bones said calmly. Every time he met an enemy, they would think about where he was. But they would never guess that he was part of the air. Before Yang Haoyan could react. Pooh! Yang Haoyan's arm was slashed. Yang Haoyan didn't even have time to react. He was stunned. At that moment, Yang Haoyan couldn't sense any aura at all. What the hell was this? Blood flowed from his arm. However, Yang Haoyan didn't care about the wound. He couldn't think normally. Shwa! There was also a cut on his other arm, and blood flowed out. If you don't resist, you will die here. White Bones said with a smile. This man was a little interesting. He actually stood there without moving. If it was someone else, they would have panicked long ago. In fact, Yang Haoyan was already panicking. It was just that he didn't show it on his face. Initially, he had thought that the Wushu Empire was already very impressive. But to think that there would be such a character in the Wushu Empire. He had never seen it before. Swish swish swish, 3 wounds instantly appeared on Yang Haoyan's body, and blood was already flowing on the ground. Who are you? Yang Haoyan asked. He felt that he was going to die here today. Me? I am just an insignificant person. There are many people who are more powerful than me. White Bones said indifferently. These words were still very low-key. After all, back then, White Bones was able to escape unscathed from Yi Hua's hands. Having such a record was already very impressive. Impossible, you must be one of the main members here. Yang Haoyan only had some flesh wounds. White Bones didn't really use its full strength. If it really did, Yang Haoyan would have already died. After all, tonight, they were going to see how Yang Haoyan would touch Yi Zizi's butt. This was the most interesting thing in recent years. White Bones suddenly laughed. What main member? I am not the main member. Don't think too much, resist a bit, let me be a bit more excited. You! Yang Haoyan was furious. He held the sword in his hand and slashed randomly. Streaks of sword chi engulfed the palace, and a large portion of the walls instantly collapsed. However, he wasn't able to hit anything. Instead, the wounds on his body increased. Suddenly, Yang Haoyan stopped moving. If you want to kill me, then kill me. I am not playing anymore. There was no reply in the air. Come! Kill me, come! Yang Haoyan roared. Ever since he had the system, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? In his own empire, who wouldn't be respectful to him? If he reached the supreme realm, then he would be able to sit on the same level as Broken Vein Mountain and Deity Academy. How glorious would that be? But if he didn't get the red packet on his butt, everything else was just a delusion. Damned Wusu Empire, why were there so many perverts? At the start, there were 2 drunkards and a husky. He simply couldn't understand their thoughts. Why were they so strange? Especially that dog, it actually ate his 100,000 point certificates. Then, he met an undead. He was clearly a mage, yet he wanted to pretend to be a warrior to fight against him. In the end, he was almost killed by a bolt of lightning. He was simply too shameless. Then, he met 2 strange lovers. He had never seen anyone who could play landlord in such a way. Why were they so outstanding? He was even hammered by that woman many times, to the point that his head was dizzy. Then, he met an even more perverted one. He was a dozun, yet he couldn't even sense a trace of aura, yet countless wounds appeared on his body. Although they were all superficial wounds, the pain was in his heart. Yang Haoyan took out some external injury medicine and applied it on his wounds. Very quickly, the bleeding stopped. He took a deep breath. Just what was the background of that twin-tailed girl? Would she be stronger than them? Probably not. Perhaps she was someone's child. As long as he captured her and took the red packet, he could bid farewell to her and never come back to this damned place again. With this crazy thought, Yang Haoyan continued to walk. The belief in his heart had supported him until now. If it was someone else, they would have long been tortured to the point of collapse. At the very least, they would have gone crazy. After walking for a short while, Yang Haoyan saw a figure standing not far away. He's here. He's here again. What the hell is this time? Is he trying to humiliate my dignity again? Don't even think about it. Yang Haoyan directly took out his sword, unleashed the aura of a dozun, and slashed at the figure. Boom! A powerful shockwave caused the surrounding walls to collapse. However, Yang Haoyan was stunned. His sword was stabbed at his chest, but it couldn't pierce through. Yang Haoyan slowly raised his head and looked at the face of a middle-aged uncle. He was a little handsome, and there was even a smile on his face. I'm about to kill you, yet you're still smiling. Can't you give me some dignity? Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Wei Chang laughed softly. Yang Haoyan wanted to cry. He actually told him not to be afraid. Why wouldn't I be afraid? I came here alone to be bullied and abused. If you were to try it, you would probably have already collapsed. Baidu search 881 Chinese network yen. No advertising words. Chapter 883. You can either directly kill me, or tell me the location of that twin-tails girl. Yang Haoyan roared at Wei Chang. I am no longer afraid of death. I can play however I want to, isn't it just death? Without the system's assistance, I would rather die. Then tell me, why? Wei Chang asked faintly. Not knowing why, Yang Haoyan felt that this man seemed to be protecting that twin-tails girl. Could it be? It's her dad. It's very possible. Looking at his age, if it's really her dad, then even the heavens are helping me. Yang Haoyan had an idea, because I love her. Hearing Yang Haoyan's words, Wei Chang's eyes gradually widened, as if he had seen a ghost. What did you just say? Wei Chang was shocked. This man barged into Wushu Empire's palace in the middle of the night just to confess to Yizizi. F***K. This young man is awesome. Yang Haoyan clearly saw the shock, and this shock came from a father. That's right. I love her, That's why I came. No matter if it's a dragon's den or a tiger's den, I, Yang Haotian, will go crazy for love. Yang Haotian slightly raised his head, and it just so happened to be at a 45 degrees angle, as if he was telling a story of infatuation that could make people cry. Ugh, a retching sound suddenly sounded out in the air. Yang Haotian pursed his lips. What I said just now seemed to have gone a bit too far, too mushy. But for the sake of the red packet, so be it if it's mushy. In any case, I'm even prepared to die. Wei Chang suddenly laughed out loud. Little brother, I can tell you where she is. Really? Yang Haotian immediately became excited. As expected of my father-in-law, he is very wise. Of course, but what I want to say is, how deep do you love her? Wei Chang asked curiously. Before Yang Haotian finished speaking, Wei Chang interrupted him, and one of his hands reached into his crotch and started searching. Seeing this action of his father-in-law, Yang Haotian was a bit absent-minded. What do you mean by this? This action is too sloppy, right? Wei Chang could be seen taking out a big bug. The bug's legs were like centipedes, and its body was covered with a black carapace. There were 2 feelers on its forehead, and it had a lot of eyes, but they were very small. If a person with phobia saw these small eyes, they would definitely have a feeling of vomiting. These small eyes were moving irregularly, and the whole face was filled with small eyes. It was really creepy. Yang Haotian thought that he was very awesome. After all, he was a dozun. However, when he saw this worm, he couldn't help but want to vomit. This was the most disgusting worm in the world. This is called 100 million bug. It's not poisonous and harmless. Although it looks a little disgusting, it tastes pretty good. Wei Chang said with a faint smile. The worm in his hand was at least the size of 2 palms, like a doll. Even a doll would not be so disgusting. Yang Haotian retched. How dare you say that it tastes good? Only a ghost would eat this. Wei Chang stretched out the 100 million bugs and said softly, the more you love her, the more you eat. I will tell you the location, and I promise that no one will stop you. The more I love her, the more I will eat her. Yang Haotian suddenly regretted, it would be better to be whipped. Even if it was tied up in Asia, it would still be acceptable. But eating this? Are you serious? Can't I eat something else? Yang Haotian asked weakly. I have given you the chance, you better grasp it. If not, today, hee. Wei Chang said in a low voice, and his tone was filled with warning. Following Wei Chang's words, Yang Haotian's expression became very ugly. This thing is disgusting just by looking at it, how am I supposed to eat it? This is simply like a large fecal worm. Above the sky, all of Yi Zizi's subordinates were present. Even Lai Gu was present, and there was also Zhu Tian and the others. Damn, Wei Chang brought out a disgusting thing again. Lai Gu couldn't help but ridicule. Let's take a guess, will this person eat it or not, how about it? Brett said with a playful tone. I don't think he will eat it, right? It's too disgusting. Zishan mumbled, she didn't even want to look at that worm anymore. I also feel that if he really eats it, it would definitely be true love. Sun Fang mumbled. Don't even talk about eating it, just looking at it makes one feel despair. LV Lu let out a light sigh, this fellow is truly pitiful. That's right, he actually likes Yi Zizi. My god, he even fell in love with her. Dou Fusher was unable to understand. Yi Zizi is simply a demon incarnate, I feel that this fellow will definitely be beaten to death. Interesting, I am really curious to see Yi Zizi's expression. Kai Yun was very curious to see how Yi Zizi would react. For a man to suddenly say that he loves her, just thinking about it makes me feel that it is rather interesting. Yu Hua said with a smile, however, this man is still very courageous, knowing that there is only death waiting for him, he still came to look for Yi Zizi, his courage is commendable. The courage of an ignorant man. Luo Ho laughed lightly as he slowly waved the folding fan in his hand. Yang Haotian, who was below, didn't know that his every move was being grasped, and right now, he was struggling frantically in his heart. Hurry up and decide, you can go after eating it. Wei Cheng patted onto Yi Gu's head and said with a smile. Can't I really change to another one? Do you really want to change to another one? Wei Cheng asked with a naughty smile. Seeing Wei Cheng's naughty smile, Yang Haotian immediately shook his head. No need, there's no need to change to another one. Who knows what I will do if you change to an even more disgusting one later on. There isn't a single normal person here. I will eat it. Yang Haotian made up his mind. For the sake of getting the red packet, I am starting to lose my bottom line more and more. Very good, it can be seen that your love is really deep. Deep my ass, to hell with love, I just want to get the red packet, for the red packet. I can do all kinds of things, I can do without any bottom line. Catch it. Wei Cheng threw the Yi Gu in his hand towards Yang Haotian. Everyone who was standing in the air subconsciously leaned backwards, seemingly wanting to throw the Yi Gu to themselves. Even the subordinates had such a reaction, and Yang Haotian was the same as well. However, he had no choice but to stretch out his hand and hold on to the Yi Gu. Holding on to the Yi Gu, I can feel my scalp going numb. Countless tentacles are crawling on my hand, and especially when the Yi Gu is looking at me, those countless eyes are enough to make me collapse. Yang Haotian's heart is in pain. There is even hair on the carapace. My God, there is even hair on the carapace. Yang Haotian could even imagine that as long as I bite onto the carapace later on, that green liquid would spurt out, or maybe it would be some other kind of liquid. In any case, it would be a disgusting thing. Can I roast it? Yang Haotian asked weakly. There won't be any nutrition if you roast it. Eating it raw is good for the body. Good my ass. You rotten old man, you are very bad. Yang Haotian took a deep breath and looked at the Yi Gu in his hand. Should I eat it from the head or from the buttocks? The internal organs can be spat out, right? Yang Haotian asked curiously. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.